Setting a proper motivation, which consists of three parts: refuge field, Bodhisattva field, and the purpose of this practice. The refuge field. Visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Ara Maitreya, Ara Manjushri, Ara Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, Ara Tara, Arya Vajrapani, Bodhisattva Krishita Garbha, Are Nagarjuna, Are Deva, Buddha Palita, Acharya Chandrakirti, Bodhisattva Chandideva, Bodhisattva Chandrakshita, Acharya Kamal Shil, Atishita Bangura Shri Jnana, then Guru Business Sambhava, Sajjan Kunga Nyingbo, Sajja Pandita, Jizun Tilopa, Jizun Naropa, Jizun Marpa, Jizun Mela, Jizun Kambopa, Lama Tsongkhapa, Gyaltsab Rinpoche, Khedra Rinpoche, and all the enlightened beings in front of you, in the sky, in front of you. And how you visualize them. They are like very affectionate parents, and you come home demoralized, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, so forth. And visualize the Bodhisattva field, visualize the two kind parents on the two sides, and all of family members, including your children, and all beings, the humans, animals, the insects, the hell beings, hungry ghost beings, celestial beings, spirits, all beings around you, of Singapore, of the world, of the Milky Way galaxy, and of the entire universe around you. And you are leading this, and everyone is, and helping joining you to discover this, unfold this, the final purpose of the life, the Buddha nature within us, which is like the gold mixed with the soil, when the gold is not visible. And as you remove the soil, the soil gradually, the gold inside becomes manifest to glow. Likewise, as the metal defilements inside us, they are removed, then the Buddha nature within us, which is perfect seed of happiness, ultimate treasure happiness, becomes manifest. So for that matter, we need to know how to get rid of the mental defilements, and for that, the nature of the mental defilements are to be known, which is of two kinds, the gross and the subtle. The gross one referred to as the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle one referred to as the cognitive obscurations. And the afflictive obscurations, the presence of which stops us from achieving freedom from the suffering from samsara, and the cognitive obscurations stop us from achieving total enlightenment or full awakening of Buddhahood. And how to get rid of these mental defilements, knowing that the afflictive obscurations somehow they are rooted to self-grasping ignorance, and the cognitive obscurations rooted to the subtle stains of the self-grasping ignorance. It is only through introducing the light of the wisdom. However, if this wisdom, if tempered by simply by bodhicitta, the renunciation, then at most it can eradicate the afflictive obscurations and not the cognitive obscurations. Whereas if tempered by bodhicitta on top of the renunciation, then it will help us to achieve total enlightenment or Buddhahood. So the whole purpose is to activate the seed of the wisdom within us, and this wisdom, we see that they are the wisdom which is of direct remedy to overcome all the mental defilements must be the non-dual wisdom. Non-dual wisdom, to the wisdom to see the emptiness non-dualistically or directly. So that is one level. To reach to such a height of the wisdom, to see emptiness directly, that which is possible only when you reach the path, paragate, parasangate. So for this to acquire, to reach to that height of the accomplishment of the wisdom of emptiness, we must first need to have the conceptual experience of emptiness. For the conceptual experience, there are two kinds: the spontaneous experience, intense spontaneous experience, and the experience with effort too. So in order to have this, the experience of the conceptual experience of emptiness with effort, we must gain conviction in this, the efficacy, the first unraveling of what this emptiness is. So that is derived through the wisdom, derived through the reflection, through inference, through reflection. And to acquire this wisdom derived through reflection, without which the intense experience of the conceptual understanding emptiness cannot be possible. So to acquire this wisdom derived through reflection, first we need to have the very extensive learning, the information about the wisdom. So the learning, we should be rich in the learning of the wisdom of emptiness. So that is acquired through what is known as the wisdom derived through learning or intellectual inquiry. So these are the three steps. Within the wisdom, the final one, wisdom realized through meditation, which has two levels. One which is non-dual experience of emptiness, which should be preceded by the dualistic experience of emptiness, conceptual experience of emptiness. So for that, the second one should precede, which is wisdom derived through reflection. For that, the first one should precede, which is the wisdom derived through learning. So this is how we have to practice. For the learning, what we are doing here, regarding the Bodhisattva Life Chapter 9, the Wisdom Chapter, this is primary for us to seek this learning. Without this learning, the reflection is impossible. Without the reflection, wisdom derived through reflection, the wisdom derived through meditation is impossible. Without the meditation, the first one, conceptual, non-conceptual is impossible. So we see that for a wise person, as we've been right from the day one, we're talking about the whole purpose of a life is to be kind to oneself and to be wisely kind to oneself. If we really want to awaken the seed of perfection within yourself, it is only by following this trend of the three levels of the wisdom. So with that in mind, the purpose for us is to do this study here, is to activate the wisdom of emptiness on the derived through learning, derived through reflection, and finally derived through meditation within this conceptual and non-conceptual. Finally, it is the wisdom derived through meditation on the non-conceptual level that finally all the mental defilements will be eradicated. Okay, so that being the purpose, you are leading this, and all sentient beings joining you to awaken this Buddha nature through activating the wisdom on these at the three different levels. So with that in mind, let's turn to page 2 of the book. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattva, I pay homage. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattva, I pay homage. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattva, I pay homage. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted independent origination. There is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and of the hearers and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all lives here seeking pacification and complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes souls helping my grace to achieve the aim to the world, and through the possession of omniscience, the subduer set forth the varieties serving all aspects. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata and protector, to you are my prostrations. One who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostration. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum teshan tathagato yavatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. Om yetarama hetu prabhava hetum te Tesham Tathagatoyavatara Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha Om Yetharama Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha. All phenomena arising in causes. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. All my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. All my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. All my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Tiyatha Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Okay, page 9. 3 principal aspects of the path. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. I'll explain as well as I am able the essence of all the teachings of the Conqueror, the path praised by the Conqueror's children, entrance for the fortunate ones. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones, who are not attached to the joys of secular existence, who strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path pleasing the Buddhas. Without pure renunciation, there is no way to add attraction to the pleasures of secular existence. The craving for existence also binds beings. Thus from the outset, seek renunciation. Reverse attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking samsara. Contemplating thus, when you do not for an instant admire the splendor of secular existence and remain intent on the liberation day and night, renunciation is then born in you. Renunciation, however, if does not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of Bodhisattva. Served by the current of the 4 powerful rivers, turned by the strong bonds of karma, so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the 3 miseries. Think of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of Bodhisattva. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of Bodhisattva, without wisdom which realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena, samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path which pleases the Buddhas. Appearance is the infallible, dependent arising. Emptiness is the emptiness, and that is filled with assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddha. When these two realizations are concurrent, by the mere sight of infallible, dependent origination, concurrently at that time, the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearance is refused the extreme of existence. Emptiness refused the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view extremes. O my child, once you have realized thus the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the fine aspiration. Okay, let us turn to page 5. Page 5, the second stanza. The second stanza, we will say this 3 times together. We'll say this 3 times together. Page 5, stanza 3. No, stanza 2. Okay, we'll say this wholeheartedly 3 times. Again, I'm going to explain this because although the meaning is pretty easy, but if you know the links between the different lines, you'll see the benefit. And then on top of that, this is a very powerful stanza, just one single stanza, yet it can help us activate the seed of the bodhicitta within yourself. And then later on, when you really get more time for yourself, for your practice, and you feel like actually meditate on bodhicitta rather than just reading. And then when actually practice it, you see that bodhicitta becomes more alive and actually be activated within you, or you can experience it much more quickly as compared to otherwise. Okay, for that matter, this stanza says the goal and the 2 means and the support. The goal, the 2 means and the support. Okay, because this journey, the goal is the goal of enlightenment. It says in the end, it says that I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart, meaning the goal of this journey is the journey of the enlightenment, Buddhahood, total awakening of this seed of perfection within yourself. And of course, that is of the greatest benefit for yourself, and this of the greatest benefit for all other demon sentient beings. 1. Now, to achieve this goal, we see that the 2 things to be done. 2 things to be done. 1, of course, we need to have a very strong ground and support. And the greatest support that we can think of is the 3 jewels. So the first line says, I go for refuge to the triple gem, meaning that to undertake this journey, I need a tremendous support, and the best support is the 3 triple gem. So therefore, I take refuge in 3 triple gem. So when you say I go for refuge in triple gem, you are seeking the support. So with the greatest of the support, then you see that this journey can be very swift, and as long as you don't make errors, you don't fall under the errors, the journey is going to be very smooth. So for that matter, 2 things required. The support, and the support of that, what we should be doing is, this journey involves the road, and the journey involves, the road. Road must be clear. Road must be clear. And your mind, the road is none other than your own mind. Your mind must be clear of the obscurations, like the very heavy contaminated karmas, negative karmas, afflictions, so forth. So try your best to get rid of clear the road of the mind, and by removing the mental obscurations. The best way by which to do so is by confessing the negativities. So the line 2 says, I confess the negativities individually. This is to clear the road of the mind, the road to enlightenment. Then number 3, while the road, after making the road very clear, but if your car does not have enough gas, then again you cannot undertake the journey. So while the road is clear, then the car should have enough gas. So again, the car is none other than your own mind. Your mind is car. Your mind moves from the very ordinary state of misery to the state of final happiness, which is Buddhahood. So this is your car. This car should have enough gas. What is that gas? Is the merit, is the energy in the form of merit. So the best way by which you accumulate merit in such a short span of time very efficiently is by rejoicing in the virtues and the merits of other beings, the Bodhisattvas, your colleagues, your friends, yourself, and so forth. So third line says, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. Okay, so with this, now the road is clear and the car's in the fuel. What are you going to do with this? Where are you going to go? So I will go to the destination of the Buddhahood. It says, I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Okay, so this is a very beautiful stanza, so succinctly done for us, very easy to say, very easy to reflect on. The meanings are very comprehensively presented, and then the seed of compassion, seed of bodhicitta easily gets activated. So I personally, this is very precious for me. I make it a point that every time I take some food, at least like three times a day. 3 times a day. Whenever I make offering of the food to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then I always add this stanza in the end to activate the seed of compassion, to activate the seed of bodhicitta in yourself. Okay, so that will say 3 times altogether, and because that this is a very incredibly great opportunity for us here in TBC, which His Holiness the Dharma feels so close to, and then all the like-minded people, they come here, and then say on a daily basis, almost like on a daily basis, if not at least 2, 3, 4 times a week, that Geshe is giving teachings here. So therefore, no doubt, this place is greatly blessed, and all the like-minded people, they come here. So in this place, if we say this. And then if you make it a commitment to say this at least once, 2 times, 3 times a day, that would be great. That is the incredibly wise way of extracting, giving meaning to one's own life. Okay, with that in mind, we include all your 2 parents and all your family members, including your children and everyone, all sentient beings, and particularly the difficult people with you. And had it not been for you, then these people will not get the opportunity to generate bodhicitta, right? So you include them in a visualization and let them also be inspired by you to generate this bodhicitta for their own benefit and for the benefit of all the sentient beings and the Buddhas Bodhisattvas. They're watching us with incredible love and affection, and the way the mother would be so happily be amidst the audience, that the young daughter or the young son is for the first time in his life or in her life making a performance, in public performance, and the mother is so proudly there amidst the audience to give her moral support, waving her hand to you. This is what exactly all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas they are doing for us here. Okay, just they're watching us, observing, they're so happy. So with that in mind, let's take this Aspiration Bodhisattva vow 3 times together, and everyone is joining you, and you are leading this. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the virtues within my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious within my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious within my heart. Okay. Okay, now we'll continue from where we left yesterday, and in the end, if we get a little extra time, we'll do a little bit of what do you call it, like a crash course, okay, the review, summary, or the synopsis, whatever, say like 5-10 minutes of the meditation on emptiness. A detailed version of emptiness, we may not be able to, a detailed version of the meditation emptiness, manual, we may not be able to do this time, but of course the shorter one, we will do this here. Okay, so with this in mind, where did we live? Where did we leave yesterday? Which stanza? Anyone? 95? 95 done. Done, not done. Huh? Not done. Okay, 95. Okay, so in fact, okay, time is very short and people have multiple interests, right? Some say it's very technical. Some say, please explain more about the particle particle. It's very interesting, right? And some say that it's going at a very fast pace. Some say that when will you finish this? Will we really finish this? Or will we get a time for the crash course, right? So all these points are coming up. So the fact that these are the different interests coming up, I'm very happy, which means that the interest is there within you, right? That is so precious. Okay, with this, how much we can finish, it doesn't matter. Okay, 90 what? 95. Okay, so it's a continuation from where what we did the last 8 days. 95. Moreover, for something that is partless, a meaning is not tenable. For what we learned yesterday is that the partless. So this is actually okay. I think we did the earlier class on there's one section. Okay, it is on page the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas. The blaze of non-dual bodhicittas. Okay, so this one is on page 209. Ultimate reality and Madhya. Of course, I'm not going to go through this. I'm just indicating to you, or I'm introducing to you that this text is very important, and yet can be explained only through somebody teaching us, right? So therefore, this explanation we already did it. If anybody who is interested to study this, it's just about 2 pages. 2 pages, and somebody who is interested to know about the particles, how with the particles meeting is not possible, and so forth. So if you turn to it's with this text 2009, and in the end we see page 2010. 2010 there is one what is start marked with the star. Acharya Vasubandhu's 20 stanzas. So this is what to be used. This is about the particles, rejecting the particles. Because of being simultaneously surrounded by 6 other particles, the central subtle particle, which is to be particle, is found to have 6 parts. If these 6 parts have the same special dimension, a massive object will conflate into the size of just a minute particle. This is a very powerful stanza to reject particle. This is said by Acharya Vasubandhu. Okay, so this way is it taken? Way this should be used is page 209. Page 209, second paragraph, 4th line, which says, as explained in other texts, Acharya Vasubandhu's 20 stanzas. This is where, okay, it's page 209. Page 209. 209. Yes, page 209, the second paragraph, and the second paragraph, 3rd line, as explained in other texts, Acharya Vasubandhu's 20 stanzas. Okay, this is, we did the study of this, or the explanation of this in somewhere else. We have the recording. All those who are interested, you just don't hesitate to either write to me or write to TPC, right? TPC, and then to be more precise, say we have Sonamla there, we have Perila, right? So you can just request TPC to get this recording. So we did a whole teaching on this part. So the rejecting the particles is done in a more detail there. So you can learn from there. Okay, and then of course here in TBC we have Geshe and then here, and then ABC, there are also teachers there. You can also ask, the teachers there. Okay, so the point is the 95. Moreover, for something that is partless, a meeting is not tenable. If things this is actually yesterday I did mention about how the meeting is not possible, and this may be a little technical, and some may be very excited to know about this thing. Somebody may feel it is too technical, it's very academic, right? So, but the thing is that, of course, those who feel excited, this is not a problem for you. You will explore. And those who feel, oh, this is too academic, I came here not for academic, I came here for practice, right? So don't underestimate your potential, right? This academic part is going to be extremely, extremely beneficial to activate your intelligence. And finally, to really understand emptiness, it is through a very sharp, agile, dexterous mind that will penetrate through emptiness. Otherwise, with a very inactive mind, emptiness is something which we can never reach there. So therefore, never underestimate yourself. We all have the capacity to understand what emptiness is, and in because of which we all have the capacity to even go through the nuances, the technicalities, the complexities of the philosophical part of the meaning. Okay, with this, it says 95. Moreover, for something that is partless, a meeting is not tenable. If a meeting and being partless can be observed, then show it please. So what it says then, meeting of the two particles, and the two particles being partless, these two are contradictory. Two particles being partless in nature, partless particles, and on the other hand, meeting of the two, this is really contradictory. These two cannot really happen. For example, say somebody singing a song, and what? Or say say eating food, right? Actively eating food and singing song together cannot happen, right? So therefore, there's a Tibetan expression which is very beautiful, but in the Singaporean context, you don't eat samba. So therefore, you will not really enjoy it. Samba means something like a very dry, powder, right? The roasted barley, the grounded roasted barley and powder. You eat it, you cannot talk. Hardly you can breathe, right? And then to sing is impossible, right? So these two things not possible. So partlessness, on the one hand, partless particles, believing in partless particles, on the other, thinking of the partless particles meeting, these two are totally untenable. Totally cannot be the complementary. Okay. 96. It doesn't matter. For the time being, it doesn't matter. 96. For a consciousness which is immaterial, a meeting is untenable. Now, thus far is about the material things. Now the consciousness with the immaterial things. Consciousness, say, of the three factors which we learned yesterday. For the sensory consciousness to arise, we need three factors. One, the object, the perceptive object, and the other, the sensory power, and the third, immediate preceding consciousness. So these three things should meet. Only with meeting these three things, then the consciousness saying, oh, this is a flower there, can arise in us. Okay, with this, now the thing is, the two objects, if things exist objectively, the flower exists objectively, the sense power also exists objectively, then you have to there is no choice other than to accept partless particles. If you accept partless particles, then the meeting is not possible. Without the meeting, then the consciousness cannot be given rise to. This is a problem. Okay, so now with the immaterial partless particles and the material partless particles and the immaterial consciousness also as objectively existent, right? So these two things again, how do they meet? How do they meet? They don't meet. They don't meet in an objective sense. For a consciousness, for a consciousness which is immaterial, a meeting is untenable. A meeting with the material things is untenable. Meaning, if consciousness and the material things exist objectively, unanalyzed things can happen. Unanalyzed things can happen, right? Analyze, then we cannot posit the meeting. The collection as well. Collection meaning, say for example, a single particle, we can speak, thus far a single particle is discussed. Single particle, if partless, Then the collection is the gross one. The flower is the particles which constitute the flower, and the gross flower, which is the collection of the particles. Okay, so the particles, how they don't meet if they are partless, is already done. Now the collection, where the partless particles they don't meet, then the collection of the particles, how can they meet with the other objects? Collection as well doesn't really exist. The earlier analysis is also applicable here. What is rejected for the single particle, we apply this to the collection also. 97. Thus, when contact does not exist, contact meaning, say when these three factors when they don't contact, when they don't come in contact, then how can the result come into being? Say for example, seed, right? Seed should come in contact with water, soil, air, sun rays, and so forth, right? So only with these factors come in contact, then the sprout comes into origination. So whereas if the context is not happening, then how can it germinate into a sprout? 97. Thus when contact does not exist, from what does a feeling arise? Feeling, right? It only comes into existence when the other factors, cause conditions, they come in contact, then the feeling as a result should arise. When the causal factors, causal conditions, when they cannot meet, then the effect in the form of feeling cannot arise. When the water doesn't come in contact with the seed will never, the sprout in the form of the result cannot arise. From what does the feeling arise? For what reason is all these painful efforts made? For whom and from what can harm occur? Okay, so now let's say that they say in order to get away from the problems, how many of us put effort in order to get away from the problems? We all put effort, get away from the problem. Now what it is saying here is that for what reason is all of these painful efforts in order to run away from the problems made? For whom and from what can harm occur? Right? Okay, this is the fact that we are trying to get away from the problems and so forth. There are two things. One is that if you don't run away from the problems, then we'll be trapped in a problem, right? One. Then another one is irritation, agitation, the fear, these things. We can run, but without the fear we can run. Right? Happily we can run. Right? With the fear we have to run. Which is better? With fear running. If you don't run, say a tiger may attack you, your body will be consumed. Right? So happily running, with fear running, which is better? Happily running better. So the fear is just because of seeing the tiger as objectively real, and your problem is seeing as objectively real. So by seeing dependent origination, you will know how to run away. By dependence on not running, and the tiger there, you will be consumed by the tiger. That will be originated, that you don't want, right? So by dependence on the tiger sitting there, but by dependence on the factor running away from the tiger, then your escape will be originated. That is wise. But why should you have to have the fear? Fear is unnecessary. This is what we don't want. The fear is created by the self-grasping ignorance, seeing things as objectively real. You're getting it? So, by knowing dependent origination, we can escape, we can do good things for yourself, right? And yet, without the fear. Whereas with seeing things objectively real, then the fear arises. Okay, with the fear, then even if you run, you may fall easily, then the tiger may consume you, right? Whereas without fear, right, sensibly, knowing dependent origination, you will run, it will be more effective. Okay. So the point is that, see, all these things what we do, okay, this is in a very mundane sense. Now, in a more technical sense, say the inactuality, say we are in dream. We're in dream, and you are being chased by, not really by a tiger, let's say tiger, right? Let's say a tiger is chasing you, and then, okay, then you cannot run. One scenario. Another scenario, tiger is chasing you, and you're faster than tiger. right? Okay, which dream is better? You're faster than a tiger and you are running, right? This is better than you falling. Both the dreams. In the dream, you have to run. If you don't run, you're stupid. In the dream. Whereas you wake up, don't run. Right? Same, both the same. Whether you're faster than the tiger or the slower than tiger, you fall, it doesn't matter. When you wake up, it's same. You don't have to run in both cases. Right? Okay, so therefore, what is being expressed here? For what reason is all these painful efforts made for you to run away from tiger, for you to run from these things? These things are explained from the point of view of seeing the ultimate reality. Right? When you see the ultimate reality, in this experience, ultimate reality, what happens? Object of the analysis dissolves. You getting it? So what we see as objective real, this is just illusion. This is all coming from just the mere appearance. From the point of view of looking at the ultimate, we see that everything dissolves. There's nothing to run away from. There's nothing as a person who is running and feeling from whom you are running. There's nothing really for whom and from what can harm occur. 98. When there's no one who feels, the feeling as well doesn't exist. So from what we learned earlier, the person, the selflessness of person, selflessness of phenomena, right? We did the selflessness of person. So when we see this person is like an illusion. Besides the 6 elements, there's a person. When we see that this person is like an illusion, just the mere appearance there. Beyond there's nothing really is there as the person. Right? Nothing really as a person, just a mere appearance. And on this appearance is not also like imaginary. With this appearance, there is the what? Dependent origination operating. In this, the mere appearance, yet on this level, not on the object level, on the object, nothing is there. On the subject level, just appearance, the dependent origination is operating, because of which the conventionality is operating, because of which the cause-effect relationship is operating so precisely, infallibly. Okay, so this, although beyond this, there's nothing there, even the self. And beyond this point, the self does not exist. 98. And when there's no one who feels, the feeling as well doesn't exist. To say that, oh, I have the feeling, that feeling must be felt by someone. When this someone does not exist objectively, how can you speak about this, the feeling to be objectively existent? When there is no one who feels, meaning when there is no one objectively who feels, the feeling as well does not exist objectively. This is qualification, right? So always be mindful as to how to see, how to interpret things. Then seeing this situation, why is craving not eliminated? You're getting it? Say, in the dream, you may be very thirsty, right? Or you may be very hungry, you may be very thirsty, then somebody brings you water, you are so very happy, right? The example of the cheesecake, you're very hungry, somebody brings the cheesecake and the cat jumps, right? And then they just spoil the cheesecake, you become so angry. So we just tossed into fluctuations of the emotions, thrown into the turbulence of the emotions. Okay, so we see that within this attachment to the craving, the cheesecake, the aversion towards the cat and so forth, the moment you wake up, what happens? Aversion, attachment both stop. You agree? Okay, the cheesecake is also dream, the cat is also dream, the aversion, the attachment both stops. Then seeing the situation, why is craving not eliminated? Okay, so now it is not easy, right? So when we study like this, you get some kind of understanding. Yes, it's just the perception, beyond that nothing's really there. Something of this kind happens. If that happens, you are very fortunate. You're very fortunate, but this says, pizza, there are so many kinds of pizzas. So many kinds of pizzas are there. Some pizzas are the letter pizza, P-I-Z-A pizza, letter pizza, right? Okay, just on a piece of paper is written P-I-Z-A pizza. Number 2 is pizza picture of pizza, right? Number 3 is the window pizza inside the window. Number 3 is a pizza in your hand, right? There are 3 many kinds, versions of the air. Likewise, the wisdom of emptiness will come to us in these different phases. There's no choice other than to go through these different phases. First one is, okay, emptiness. It's just like a P-I-Z-A, right? Okay, you're hungry, I'll give you pizza. Then I wrote P-I-Z-A, give it to you. Right, this is one version. So another version is, you're hungry, I'll give you pizza. Then I give you a picture of pizza. Then number 3 is, okay, I'll give you pizza and then I'll show you, I'll make you to do a window shopping. In the pizza in the window, right? You're not allowed to get in. It's a real pizza, but you are not entitled to get in. Number 4 is a real pizza in your hand. Okay, so this is the process. This process, how we get to emptiness. Emptiness is not easy, right? And some people, right, what they do is they study. Okay, for example, my own experience. Some people, they study with me for like 5 days. And in some cases, amazing, it's just one day. The first time into Buddhism and directly into emptiness, one day, and they said, oh, right, they share something, right? Always tell them, it's between you and me. Don't ever say this to the next university monks. They will ask you how many years you have studied. And you say 1 day. They'll be fascinated. Okay, so the point is, whatever is the case, say 5 days, 10 days, and then maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So there, when you get experience, this experience is a very gradual process and it is always transformative. It's always changing. It's always changing, yet transformative. Right? It always changes. Like say in Singapore, everywhere is much more the same. Whereas you go to India, from the north to the south, you go by train, you will start seeing all different landscapes after, say, 5 hours, 10 hours. You have to travel by train, right? Say like the 24 into 3-4 days, 24 hours into 3-4 days, right? Well, like this, you will see different landscapes. You're getting it? Likewise, emptiness. There are so many landscapes there you're bound to see. You see landscape of the emptiness. Okay, so the point is that say it is not easy. That you study this, you get a little this, and then the fear disappears. No, it's not that easy. You may get a glimpse of emptiness, yet it may not have any effect at this moment to cut your negative emotions or to cut your fear at this point. But you already got a glimpse. You got a glimpse, and then your job is to just continue with this, extend, you go for, and some people, say particularly sitting for the Bodhisattva retreat, they get some glimpse of emptiness, and then it is like experience usually that I draw graph, say y-axis, s-axis, right? Or what is that, x or y, what is conventional one? Y. The y and the x. Y-axis and the x-axis. So if I draw the graph, experience of emptiness, right? Initially, particularly if you do a very intense studies, the way we do in the Bodhisattva retreats, it's very intense and it's very effective. I would say very effective. So their experience would be like, say, like a shooting star or the rocket, right? It goes like this up. So you will feel the tickling sensations, goosebumps, in some cases a tinge of fear, peace, you just feel like crying. This experience will come to you. Okay. And then you keep doing this. Slowly what happens is that it will start falling down. It starts falling down, right? Okay. As it starts falling down, then it seems as though like what you've been doing has become so mechanical, right? The same emptiness meditation, the same that I'm doing, no feeling coming. It's like very mechanical. It's like a tape recorder being played over and over again. And you may feel so demoralized, so discouraged. Okay, still never give up. Just continue. So, which means that when you reach that point, you are actually very lucky. You are still going through the journey. This is a very important phase that everybody has to go through this. There's no choice. Right? Everybody, even the Buddhas, they have been through the same way, same experience. Okay, now what should you be doing is make sure that you meet with your teachers, or to say here in TBC you have Geshe here, and then ABC you have the teachers, who learn it, right? Okay, and then with the materials books, read those books which are very standard books, very standard. Don't just read any books by anyone. Okay, so with this, then the point is that just engage in extensive studies, two more studies. So that way, the material that you will have becomes richer. With the richer material, richer thought processes, richer experiences. Okay, this is the idea. So with this, then it slowly fall down, and then because of these extensive, never giving up, then through extensive learning, then again it will start to pick up. When it starts to pick up, it will not like an early experience, like a shooting star. No, it's going to be diagonally going. Yet is very stable. Early it was like for small children, you are like a small child, and somebody showing candies like this and disappears. Again shows like this, disappears. It's very exciting chocolates seen, but disappears. Right? So when after a while, then it starts to pick up, then it becomes your candies. Your candy, you like it, you can look at it anytime you like. Right? It's not somebody showing like this and disappears. Right? Initial experience is very enticing. Sharp rise, but it's not really in your hand. It just comes like this, very blazing, like a thunder. With the lightning. With the lightning, it's so bright, it disappears. Right? So next time, it's not really like a chocolate, but ordinary candies, but you can keep it and you can look at it as long as you like. Right? As long as you like. It's not a chocolate, it's like an ordinary candy, but you can keep it, look at it like as long as you like. Okay, then what do you do? Okay, now I want chocolate, not the candies. Then you can slowly replace this with the chocolate, but it's very stable, right? Okay, these are the experiences. So, say, don't be impatient, right? If you feel impatient, oh no, I attended Bodhisattva retreat once, and I attended another 9 days. 9 days of the chapter 9 class in TBC, and still nothing is happening, right? When such thoughts come to you, you're being very impatient. Don't worry. Think of the monks studying in monastic universities who spent like 10 years memorizing the texts, reciting the texts, attending the teachings, debating 4 hours every day, 5 hours debating, right? And then still not complaining after 10 years, still not complaining that I've not understood emptiness, right? And you attend one Bodhisattva retreat, amazing, for how long? The 9 days. And then attended whole chapter 9 in TPC for how long? 9 years? No, 9 days. Okay, so the point is we should be patient, right? Be patient. It's a very noble journey. Nobler the journey, more the time taking. Don't forget it. Nobler the journey, more the time taking. So therefore, your determination finally takes you there. Not just the very short-term studies will take you there. No, the studies plus the determination, knowing that this is a noble journey. Therefore, more the time taking. Okay. 99. Those 99, and then the half of 100, the first two lines of 100, 99 and the first two lines of 100, this is about the object and subject. Object and subject pertaining to the feeling. How the object of the feeling does not exist objectively, how the subject of the feeling does not exist objectively. Say, when I see the flower, I get a pleasant feeling. So this feeling, what's the object of this feeling? What's the object of this feeling? When I look at the flower, I get a pleasant feeling. So what's the object of this feeling? The flowers. So when I see that the flowers don't really exist objectively, then I see that the feelings on the basis of which the flowers on the basis of which the feelings arise, when the flowers don't exist objectively, the object doesn't exist objectively, how can the subject exist objectively? Right? Okay. So it says 99. Those seen or touched have the nature of dream or an illusion. Those seen, the flowers, which give rise to the pleasant feeling. Those touched, for example, the texture of a cool, say, water or whatever, right? A pleasant touch. So that object whatever seen, touch, whatever. So those objects have the nature of the dream or an illusion. When you subject these objects to ultimate analysis, we see that they disappear. What is seen as so beautiful, like as a flower there, when it's subject to the ultimate analysis, we see it's just millions of atoms. That's it, a bunch of atoms. Right? Bunch of atoms does not have any appeal. So it's like an illusion. It does appear as appealing, but if you analyze objectively, you see it's just a bunch of atoms. Nothing's really there as a flower, nothing's really there as an appealing object. So what you see as appealing object is just on the surface, on the appearance. Beyond that, nothing's there. Because it's just appearance, it's like a dream, it's like an illusion. Okay, next, having arisen simultaneously with the mind, the feeling is not perceived by the mind. Okay, now let's say, okay, subject, okay, I'm feeling a very pleasant feeling now, or I'm feeling a little low now, I'm feeling a little low. Okay, how many of you really had that experience, sometimes feeling low? How many of you had that experience? Just raise hands. How many of you don't know what feeling low? Hey, what is meant by feeling low? Well, you have no clue. Raise hands. Okay, we all have that experience, right? Okay, sometimes we feel low. Okay, let's say I'm feeling low, right? Okay, by the way, okay, okay, right? Somebody asked me, right? Okay, when you meditate in emptiness, sometimes if the feeling is so overwhelmingly painful or overwhelming, then I said, stop, don't push yourself, right? And the person said, what is the feeling for the being overwhelmed like? I said, which means you have not experienced it 100%, right? So go ahead with the meditation. Right? Okay, which means you don't reject. So the moment you ask this question to me, which means I'm happy you are not overwhelmed. Yeah. Okay. Likewise, the point is that the say. Now you say there, I'm feeling so low now, feeling so low. Okay. In fact, some people, they go through depression, and when one goes through depression, this is a very, very acute problem, right? Many people, they don't understand this. Many people think that this is just depression. What? It's just thinking. You have to think positively. It's not that easy. This pain is so acute. It's not simply because, that, oh, your thinking is wrong. Yes, I have to think positively, flower, right? Okay, garden. No, it's not like this. When one is really hit by this depression, it's so difficult to come out. You're getting it? Okay, let's say that we're going through this feeling, we're feeling very low, you don't want to meet with anyone, you don't want to do anything, feeling low. Okay, this is a feeling. Okay, which mind is experiencing this feeling of low? Which mind? My mind. Okay, now my mind is feeling. So this is a feeling as the object, my mind becomes the subject. Right? Earlier, the feeling as the subject and the flower is the object. Flower as the object, feeling as the subject. Now the feeling as the object and my mind experiencing this is the subject. Okay, now we are analyzing the subject. So there, having arisen simultaneously with the feeling, with the mind. This mind, the mind which experiences feeling, the mind, and what this mind is experiencing, the feeling as the object. The feeling and the mind, are these two simultaneous? Or the mind precedes the feeling, or the mind follows the feeling? Tell me. Simultaneous. If they're simultaneous, then it is like, say, okay, it's like, say, I need somebody to help me. So what I like to do is, I want to go to Dharamsala. I need somebody to help me, right? Okay, so who's going to help me? Somebody just volunteered. Maybe Vijan is so good at volunteering. Vijan, upstairs. Okay, let's say Vijan volunteers. Yeah, I'll help you, right? Alfred, right? Okay, Alfred wants to volunteer. Right? Okay, Alfred, young boy, Okay, let's say, so what we do, yes, Alfred, he gets... Okay, so the point is, okay, now what happens is that, say Vision and Alfred, two of them are to help me. What? Help me what? For me to get to Dharamsala. And it so happens that the first meeting, three of us, we had in Dharamsala. Three of us, we met in Dharamsala. And what for two of them came in Dharamsala? To help me. To help me for what? To get me Dharamsala. We are together, yes? Together? The purpose of them helping me is defeated because I'm already in Dharamsala. So if you're together, what's the point of the other person? Right? So therefore, say, for the feeling, this feeling is felt by this mind, which means that this feeling is like the cause, and the mind should experience it as the result. If it is simultaneous, there's no cause-effect relationship. You're getting it? Okay, now simultaneous is not possible. So it says, having arisen simultaneously with the feeling, the mind. The feeling, having arisen simultaneously with the mind, the feeling is not perceived by that mind, because these two are together. Because together, then it is like, say, the one who is to be helped and the helper, these two together. So helper helped makes no sense. Right? To perceive means the object should exist and then the mind should come and perceive it. Right? If two of them come together, then the mind is already arisen without the any contribution from the other object. So simultaneous is not possible. Then what is the other option? What is the next option? Hey, you can tell me. Right? Well, sequential, don't just sequential. Which? The mind should come first, the feeling come later? Be very precise. Feeling comes first, followed by the mind. If feeling comes first and followed by the mind, again this is a problem. Okay, let's say there's a shift, right? Work. For the work there's a shift, right? Say at 6 p.m. one group till 6 p.m. and the next batch comes at 6 sharp. Till 6 the first group. Okay, the first group 6 sharp, the first group left this door. Second group entered the room. Right? First and the second they did not meet. You getting it? If they do not meet, they don't know each other. Right? So therefore, if the object comes first, and then say come first, and second meaning is in time. In time. Okay, 2017, 2000 what? 2018, somebody who is born in 2018, does he or she have the experience of 2017? No? Right? Because 2018, 17 is gone. Right? They do not meet. Without meeting, how can one contribute to the other? Right? So the object first, and then the subject comes, object disappears. So how can the object contribute to the subject? You're getting, again, it's a problem. So now the other option is what? Subject comes first and the object comes later. Then what's the point of the object? Right? So it's so weird. So then you're lost, right? Okay, you're not lost. This analysis is actually a form of ultimate analysis. With the ultimate analysis, you'll find nothing. Right? Okay, so having arisen simultaneously with the mind, the feeling is not perceived by that mind. One, those produced before or after can be remembered and not experienced. You getting it? Those produced before and after can be remembered, meaning same. If the object comes first, for example, okay, how many of you are experiencing 2017? How many of you are experiencing 2017? Right? No, if you are, which means that you are laid back. Somebody's about to raise their hand, right? I did not ask how many of you have experienced. I might ask how many of you are experiencing, right? Okay, so which means you can remember the past, but you are not experiencing the past, right? Whereas we are talking about the mind experiencing the feeling, right? Experiencing the feeling. Experiencing means that it is not the remembered. Remembering and the experiencing is different. Experiencing is the present. Remember, it is the past. Okay. Can be remembered and not experienced. Okay, now the summary. One cannot experience oneself, nor be experienced by others. In other words, if things exist objectively, right, the feeling to be experienced by something else, to be experienced either by, if the feelings exist objectively, right? In what is being done here? Mindfulness of the feeling. You're getting it? And this is unique meditation on the mindfulness of feeling, seeing the feeling as empty of objective existence. You're getting it? With the feeling, all the problems arise. You're getting it? Right? In fact, say if not 100%, 99.9% of all our actions are determined by the feelings. 99.9% of all our actions are determined by the feelings. Don't forget it, right? Okay, you are so excited wanting to come to the class, right? The moment you are about to come to class, you have a little stomach upset. You will not come. Or you hear bad news. You will not come, right? This feeling, unpleasant feeling, will stop you from the action of going there. So 99, if not 100%, 99.9% of all our actions are determined by the feelings. Don't forget it. So therefore, to see emptiness feeling, to see this feeling to be empty of objective existence, this will really, really help us to scrutinize our actions. And see what actions to be done, what actions not to be done. We are able to do the actions in a sensible way. Okay, for this, the feelings, they should be experience of the feeling. And experience of the feeling, if the feeling exists objectively, you cannot posit the experience of the feeling. Experience should be what? Either it should experience itself, or it should be experienced by somebody else. If it experienced by itself, you are accepting like a self-cognizant mind. Self-cognizant mind, we already rejected. Other experiencer means, it is, if the feeling is objectively existent and experience is objectively existent, these two become two independent entities. If two independent entities, they are not dependent on each other. If not dependent, they are like two independent, nothing to do with each other. So therefore, one cannot experience the other, right? So one cannot experience oneself, meaning because self-cognizant mind is rejected. Nor be experienced by others, because others, if objectively, provided the feeling exists objectively, then the two things, feeling to experience and the experiencer, these two become two independent entities. Two independent entities means one cannot experience the other. They become two unrelated things. Okay, 101. There's no one that feels, meaning the person. Now again the same thing, seeing the emptiness of the person, right? There's no one that feels. And feeling cannot truly exist. Or say the experiencer, which we said earlier, not experienced by oneself, no experienced by other. If the feeling exists objectively, right? Whereas subjectively is not a problem. Subjectively, feeling has the experiencer. My mind experiences the feeling, I experience the feeling, that's fine. But if the feeling exists objectively, then you cannot posit the experiencer. So if the experience is not there, there is no one that feels, meaning the experience is not there, then the feeling cannot truly exist. How can these induce harm to this collection that lacks a film? Say experience of them, feeling does not exist objectively, experience that does not exist objectively, then how can this feeling, which is like a dream, can affect this person who's also like a dream? Right? To this collection that lacks a self. This collection meaning collection of these 6 aggregates. Okay, how many of you are a collection of 6 aggregates? We are all collection of 6 aggregates. So beyond this, now which of the 6 collections, you tell me? Which of the 6 collections, which of the 6 aggregates is you? None. And where are you then? It's very strange. It disappears, right? Okay, it's quite scary. It's quite scary, right? Okay, again, I'm saying this again because tomorrow I'm leaving, right? If you meditate on this, and then if you are overwhelmed by this feeling, so much of fear, the fear overwhelms you, right? If that is really unbearable, then what do you stop the meditation for some time and write to me, right? Write to me. Whereas if you don't know what is overwhelming, then you're not overwhelmed, you continue meditation, right? Okay, the next, the selflessness phenomena in relation to the close placement of mindfulness of the mind. Okay, now we're doing pretty good. The mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of body finish, mindfulness of the feeling finish, mindfulness of the mind. Okay, the mind, we see that we have, say, the 5 sensory minds and the 1 mental, total 6. And the Chitta-mantra, they add 2 more. Alaya-Vigyan, repository consciousness, Alaya-Vigyan, which is known as Alaya-Vigyan. Sorry, mind basis of all. Yes, mind basis of all, repository consciousness. Okay. And then the afflictive mind. Afflictive mind, these 2 are added on top of the 6. So what we are doing now is just a 6. Alaya-Vigyan, these things are added by Chitta-mantra. According to Prasangika, this is non-existent. Okay, what we have is, we have the 5 sensory consciousnesses and the 1 mental consciousness. Say, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, 5. And then when you close your eyes or when you fall asleep, when you start dreaming, it is the mental consciousness, right? Total there are 6. Okay, of the 6, first 5, okay, the say 102, a mind does not exist in source, nor in forms and so forth, nor in between. A mind is not inside or outside, nor can it be found anywhere else. Okay, earlier we did the analysis of the same, right? The mind, the feeling. We can apply this here as well. The consciousness. Where is this consciousness? In fact, this is what I would suggest you to do this, right? In fact, when I was young, say the taste of chocolate, it was something so unique, so good, and I was so curious. You know, what I really like is not really the chocolate. I like the taste. Where is this taste? I was observing it when I was very young. Maybe age 10, 11, 12. Where is this taste? You know, I taste it, right? I open it, I put it there. It's very pleasant, so nice. Where is this pleasant thing? I'm looking for it. I could not find it. Right? Okay, just try this. Just try it. Where is the pleasant thing? It's so pleasant, right? This is what I like to sustain. But where is this? Where is this? The tongue is not. Tongue, I had it before the pleasant feeling. Right? So the chocolate, the size is reducing, but the pleasant feeling remains the same. Even chocolate is also not the one. But where is it? There is something so real. Where is it? I was exploring. Okay, like this. If you analyze like this, you will never find it. Say the mind does not. This mind which experiences, this mind does not exist in sources, nor in physical forms, like the chocolate and so forth, nor in between. Right? A mind is not inside. Inside meaning, if you explore within you, there's some kind of essence inside. You will not find essence inside. Outside, like your hand and so forth, you will not find it. Nor can it be found anywhere else. So if you analyze like this, you will not find the mind. Okay, now for the mind, what I would suggest is this Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra's presentation is so precious. Don't forget it. One thing. Another thing is what we did briefly last time. We did that pertaining to the sound of the bell, right? Analyzing where is this mind which is observed in the present moment. You're getting it? We're analyzing this. The mind exists in time. Time should have 3 segments, 3 portions, beginning, middle, and end. And we're looking for the present moment of the mind. We could not locate it. You getting it? This is one meditation on the emptiness of the mind. So, meditation emptiness of mind. This is so important. Is it too fast? Right? Okay. Okay, so the meditation mind is so important, because with the meditation emptiness of mind, you can apply this to the meditation on the emptiness of the feeling. So oftentimes we go through the difficulties with the feelings, very unpleasant feelings, depression, stress, pain, so forth. So there, if you know how to meditate on emptiness of the feeling, then you can sit even when you go through very difficult times. Okay, once one of my cousins who was very healthy, I was going through, when I was young, I had the severe ulcer problem, and then he was younger than me, so he always hearing about his cousin brother having an ulcer problem. He once asked me, what does it mean by ulcer problem? He asked, what does it mean by ulcer problem? What's the feeling like? He asked me that. You're getting it? Okay. So without knowing what the ulcer is like, you cannot meditate on emptiness ulcer feeling. You're getting it? So without having this feeling of going through a low phase of your life, feeling low, without this feeling, right, you cannot really meditate on the emptiness of this feeling. So to have this going through a low phase of life, you are very lucky. You have this object of the meditation on the emptiness of this feeling. Very lucky, right? Once you have this experience, you know how to tackle your emotions. You know how to tackle your pains, right? Anytime you go through this problem, you can apply this. Because you know how you're expert in this now, right? Okay, this is very precious. One time, one of my friends, he was, okay, no, let's not talk this too much. Okay, okay, it's fine. Okay, 103. That which is not the body, no others. Neither, okay, that which is not the body, that referring to mind which is not the body or others. So I have the feeling, I have the mind, which is my mind. My body's mind, no. Neither commingled, not mixed with the mind, not mixed with the body, no separate in any way. The body keeps aside, the mind will be separated. No, it's not a thing. Such a thing where you cannot really find one with the body, no different from the body, right? Not mixed with the body. If nothing's really there like this, something which is not one with the body, not different, not mixed with the body, then such a thing really doesn't exist. Is not a thing at all. Such a thing is not at all a thing, which means a mind, the mind. So why this is being said here? Because we believe in the mind to be objectively real. If it is objectively real, we should be able to locate this mind when going closer towards the object. What is Nagarjuna said? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? So applying this, if the mind does exist objectively, so solidly real, so when you go through this little bit low phase of life, going through a very low feeling, so what is the feeling like? This mind is like a very solid there. It feels as though so objectively real. Is this your experience? As though like it's so solidly there, so objectified, so solidified there. Okay, if this is there, then it should be either one with the body, which is so visible, either separate from the body, or should be mixed with the body. If nothing of this kind is happening, there is no objectified mind. Okay. As such, sentient beings are released in natural nirvana. So if you analyze like this subjectively, when you analyze like this, when you subject things, when you subject the mind to ultimate analysis, what will you find? What you will find? When you subject the mind to ultimate analysis, what you will find? You will find the emptiness of the mind. Likewise, if you subject the sentient beings to ultimate analysis, what do you find? You will find the emptiness of the sentient beings. You're getting it? In other words, the sentient being dissolved in this experience. If you analyze, if you subject the painful experiences to ultimate analysis, what will you find? Even the painful experience also dissolved, you will find the emptiness of the painful experiences. So the painful experience dissolves, Mental disturbance dissolves, right? Agitation dissolves. This is known as the natural peace, right? Natural peace. It says sentient beings are released in natural nirvana. Okay. 105. If the cognition exists prior to the object. Okay, now this is a similar example, similar analysis done earlier. Say the mind. If the mind exists objectively, the mind, which mind? Give me an example. Which mind? The mind which sees the flower. You getting it? Mind which sees the flower. Flower is your object. Okay, this analysis which we already did earlier, but it's coming here again. The flower is your object. Right? The 104. If the cognition meaning your mind exists prior to the object, say your flower and your mind seeing the flower, which of the two comes first? Huh? Together? Or the flower before? Or the flower after your mind? Huh? Huh? Okay, let's see. Right. Okay, 104. If the cognition exists, okay, there are only three options. Either the flower and the mind should come together, one, or the flower comes first, and then the flower, say Perry like gives it here, and then they gives it here as the 6:45 p.m. and you come at 7. So your mind comes later. The object comes first. And then you come at the 7, and Perry forgot to bring it at 7. And then she brings it at 7:15. So the object comes later. Your mind comes first. Right? These are the only three options. Either together, or the object first, or the object later. You're getting it? These are only three options. On all three options, you cannot answer if you believe the mind to be objectively real. You are getting it? It doesn't mean that you cannot give the answer. It's simply because if you believe the mind exists objectively real, then you cannot give the answer. You're getting it? Okay, 104. If the cognition exists prior to the object, if the cognition, meaning the mind exists before the object, then the mind is already, right, before bringing the flower, you have already seen the flower. Right? Mind seeing the flower, if it exists before the flower coming, then it's amazing. You have clairvoyance. Right? Okay, so this is not possible. This is not possible. Then on what does it focus to arise? So this mind already arises before the flower comes. What is the object of this flower? What is the object of this mind? Right? Because the object is yet to come. Okay, so this is not possible. Number 2. And if the cognition and the object are simultaneous, if these two are simultaneous, on what does it focus to arise? For the mind to arise, for the mind to see the flower, a mind seeing the flower to arise, it must be supported by the flower. Meaning that the flower, it is like, say for example, the light rays should fall on the flower, and then the light should bounce to your eye consciousness, right? So which means, which arises first, your mind or the flower? Flower, not simultaneous. If simultaneous, then the purpose for the light to fall on the flower, then hitting your eye, the consciousness makes no sense. So these two cannot be simultaneous. Okay, then and if cognition and the object are simultaneous, on what does it focus to arise? Same. Number 3, yet if it occurs after the object, okay, you may answer this. Yes, object comes first, followed by the cognition. Then, say, object comes at what? Object comes at, say, 7 sharp, and then leaves. And the 7:1, the mind comes. So the mind and the object did not meet. Without meeting, how can the mind perceive the object? Right? Okay, let's see. And if the cognition and object, 105, yet if it occurs after the object, then from what does the cognition arise? Because the object left already. Right? Okay. So finally, acceptance of phenomena in relation to close placement of mindfulness of phenomena now. Also, okay, this is only 2 lines, it's easy. Mindfulness of the phenomena, 2 lines. So, now after all this emptiness experience learning which we did from the first one, mindfulness of what? What is the first one? Mindfulness of body. What is the second one? Mindfulness of feeling. What is the third one? Mindfulness 1. With these 3 things, then we are introduced to the emptiness in a detailed presentation. So with this, you can apply this to any other object other than the first 3 objects. The body, feeling, and the mind. Right? Applied to any other phenomena, that is the mindfulness of the phenomena. You apply this emptiness concept to any other phenomena other than the body, feeling, and the mind. That becomes the mindfulness of the phenomena. So it says, this way, arising of any phenomena cannot be determined. Arising of any objective phenomena. Arising of any objective phenomena cannot be determined. With any phenomena you can think of, you will see that they all don't arise objectively. Okay. The next, page 20. Okay. Reject the objection that the two truths are untenable. Okay, from this one, I'm going to a little fast. I'm going a little fast, so you are a little slow. Right? Okay, so whether I'm going fast or you're a little slow, it doesn't matter. Right? So with this, somehow thus far, whether what, the ultimate analysis, conventional analysis, on what basis, so something I cannot give the answer, right? Whatever they say, the object and subject, which comes first, object first, there's a problem. Object subject together, there's a problem. Object later, there's a problem, right? So in all one of these should be, these are the only three options. And all these options, there's a problem, right? Okay, so which means then how can you explain this? I cannot explain this. If you cannot explain this, if explanation can be given, it should be given where? On the ultimate analysis or conventional analysis? Yet you cannot give the explanation, which means conventionally also you cannot give the explanation. If you cannot give the explanation conventionally, then the conventional truth does not exist. If the conventional truth does not exist, then you cannot posit the two truths. So R.N. Nagarjuna's followers, Singaporean R.N. Nagarjuna's followers, where are your two truths? Okay, 106. If conventional truth does not exist, how can there be two truths for you, right? So conventionally you cannot posit, right, how the mind perceives the object. You cannot posit this conventionally, right? You cannot posit this. If you cannot posit this, what the mind, present moment of the mind, you cannot posit it. How many of you are able to posit the present moment of the mind? Raise your hands. Present moment of the mind, which we did the analysis, the mind should exist in time. Time should have three portions. What are they? Beginning, middle, and end. And beginning is past. You are only interested in present, and beginning is past. Remove that. End is yet to come. Remove that. Middle. Even middle one is also fake. Even if middle one is also illusion-like. It also exists in time. Time should have again three segments. Beginning, middle. You will look with this. You cannot posit the present moment of the time, right? So where is the present moment of the time? Tell me. How many of you are confident that you can posit the present moment of the time? If you cannot posit the present moment of the time, you are in a way saying the present moment of time does not exist. If it doesn't exist, you are saying it doesn't exist conventionally. If it doesn't conventionally, there's no way by which it exists ultimately. So therefore, the time doesn't exist in both truths. So where are your two truths? Okay, 106. If conventional truth does not exist, how can there be two truths? If conventionalities are posited by others, how can sentient beings transcend sorrow? Okay, now, if you cannot posit the two truths, then for you, right, conventional truth means something coming from your mind. Yes? No? Hey, Singaporean Prasangikas. Conventional truth means something coming from your mind, right? Things existing conventionally. Things exist conventionally means something coming from your mind. Subjective mind. Yes, no. Subjective mind means it is imaginary. If it is imaginary, subjective mind means your mind can think and then say that, okay, in Singapore there is the agriculture department. Hey, Singapore, do you have agriculture department? Or Singapore has a beautiful agriculture department. Right? Or you can imagine that it should happen. Right? So, if it is just purely subjective, then it should become like, say, you imagine, you just subjectively think, and it should happen. So, then it becomes like, if conventionally asked posited by others, then others' mind, somebody thinks that, hey, right? So, somebody thinks that, hey, Dorji, you are a girl. Right? Then I become a girl. Right?
And then somebody says that, hey Doreen, you're a boy. Hey, Doreen becomes a boy, right? So whether I'm boy, girl, or determined somebody else is thinking. Right? I don't know. Then if somebody thinks that you're a boy, somebody at the same time other person thinks that I'm a girl, then what do I become? I don't know. Right? So therefore, if this is the conventionality, then it's so strange that there's no point in me meditating. Somebody thinks, oh, Dorji, you are enlightened, then I become enlightened. Somebody says, no, you are a samsaric being, I'm a samsaric being. Right? So therefore then, even the Buddha cannot transcend sorrow. So it says, if conventionalities are posited by others meaning whatever thoughts arise, that determines what is conventionality. How can sentient beings transcend sorrow? Right? Because imaginary does not follow dependent origination. Imaginary does not follow dependent origin. Without the dependent origination, then dependence on the practice of Dharma, you'll become enlightened. This doesn't make sense. So therefore, without dependence on the Dharma practice, you can never transcend sorrow. So sentient beings you should accept that sentient beings never transcend sorrow. Okay, for this we have to learn the two things. This is very important. Everything that exists must exist subjectively. Everything that exists must exist subjectively. Anything what exists must be subjectively imputed. Don't forget it. Okay, let me put it like this. Anything that exists should necessarily be subjectively imputed. Anything which is subjectively imputed may not necessarily exist. Don't forget it. Okay, on the one hand, I have the existence. On the other hand, I have the mental imputation. Existence and mental imputation too. Now I'm saying anything which is existent should be mentally imputed. Right? Whereas anything is mentally imputed may not be existent. Right? If you find it difficult, it's very easy. Right? Say, all girls should be human beings. All human beings may not be girls. You getting it? All girls should be human beings. Yet all human beings may not be girls. All existence should be mentally imputed. All mentally imputed may not be existent. Right? What can you think of? Something which is mentally imputed, not something which is mentally imputed, not existent. Can you give me an example? Sky flower. Showking. You're about to say something? Huh? Huh? Horn of a rabbit. The word. Edmund says horn of a rabbit. Edmund, you said it? Okay. So sunflower, the what? Sky flower, horn of a rabbit. So all these are not existing, they are mentally imputed, but they are not existent. Did you get it? What did I say? Okay, what are the two lines? Anything which exists should be mentally imputed. What is mentally imputed may not necessarily exist. What examples do you have? Horn of a rabbit, sky flower, and the Agriculture Department of Singapore.
My castle. My castle. My castle. My palace.
Okay, say the Shenzhen's palace. You don't know palace. Okay, my palace. Yes. Okay. So these are. Don't forget it. Say what is imputed. Within that, imputation can be imputation which follows dependent origination law. Imputation which does not follow dependent origination law. Imputation which does not follow dependent origination law is what? Imaginary things. Just imaginary things. Imputation which follows dependent origination, they are the existent ones. You getting it? Okay. With this in mind, 107. This existence is through other thoughts. Okay, say, okay, this flower exists because somebody thinks that there's a flower. Right? Somebody thinks. If this is how it exists, this is not the Prasangika's version of existence. It says, this is not our mode of conventionality. What is our mode of conventionality? If this is assisted afterwards, it exists. So say, there is the chocolate flower. There's a chocolate flower in my hand, a flower made of chocolate in my hand. Right? I imagine this. Simply because I imagine this, it doesn't mean that it should exist. So how can we validate this, or how can we verify it? You go there and see whether it is chocolate, right? So it says, it is not a mode of conventionality. If this is ascertained afterwards, after going there, see that, oh, there's a chocolate there, it's really made of chocolates. Then, if it is ascertained afterwards, it exists. Say, somebody said that, I say that, I have a flower made of chocolates, right? And Ridala says that, oh, this is not made of chocolates, it's just ordinary flour, right? So, which of the two, how would you evaluate which of the two is correct? You come closer and check if this really, you eat it, if it's not chocolate, what Ridala said is correct, what you said is wrong. So this is how we evaluate. So it says that if this is ascertained afterwards, which means that it should follow the cause-effect relationship, it should follow dependent origination law, then it exists. Well, simply because you think that is a flower made of chocolate, it should not necessarily exist, because it doesn't follow dependent origination law. If it is not ascertained afterwards through scrutiny, then the conventionality doesn't exist. Even though somebody says that this is a flower made of chocolate, it doesn't exist. Okay, so in this connection, Lama Tsongkhapa said one thing. Say, how would you say that say the Edwin says that there's a yellow flower in my hand, and I say that this is the chocolate in my hand, right? How we evaluate? So both the thoughts, they impute. Do you agree? Edwin's thought also impute a flower in my hand, and my thought impute a chocolate in my hand. How would you evaluate that? From the object, there's nothing there, right? It's a subjective imputation. One subjective imputation is correct, and the other subjective imputation doesn't follow dependent origination, so that is wrong. So how do you evaluate it? You go towards the object to see. If you go towards the objective existence, you will never find it. How do you evaluate it? This is a very serious question. So the answer is given by Lama Tsongkhapa in his The Graded Path to Enlightenment, the treatise on the great stages of path to enlightenment. The 3 volumes, Lamrim 3 volumes. In the 3rd volume, Lama Tsongkhapa gave the answer that for something to be existent, it should qualify 3 characteristics or 3 criteria. 3 criteria. The first one is that it should be conventionally accepted. It should be conventionally known, not accepted, conventionally known. The first one, that it should be conventionally known. Number 2, that it should not be rejected by ultimate analysis. It should not be rejected by, number 1, conventionally known. Number 2, not rejected by ultimate analysis. Number 3, not rejected by conventional analysis. These 3 points. That is conventionally known. That is not rejected by ultimate analysis. That is not rejected by conventional analysis. Only if somebody fulfills these 3, all 3 characteristics, then that object can be posited as existent. If something doesn't qualify any of these 3 characteristics, the object is non-existent. This is how Lama Tsongkhapa gave the measure of discerning something to be existent. Okay. 108. Both thought and to be thought are mutually dependent. Now Prasangika's version, finally, right? Finally, Prasangika's version, how do things exist? Which comes first? Which comes follow? Which follows later? Right? So Prasangika says that object and subject. How do you know the object exists? Because of the subject. How do you know subject exists? Because of the next subject. No, don't go like this. Prasangika says, object and subject. How do you know the object? Because of the subject. How do you know the subject? Because of the object. You see the mutuality of dependence. That these two are mutually dependent. It's not just one way all the time. Right? There's a mutuality. There's a mutuality dependence. This dependency is 2 ways. Object depends on the subject and subject depends on the object. For example, this container. Okay, this container is a sweet container. Let's say that, okay, I want a sweet container. Then you can bring this container, sweet container, right? Okay, this sweet, how come that this sweet is there, the suspended in the air? Because of the container. Container is holding this sweet in the air. How come that this container is a sweet container? Because of the sweets. But depends on the sweet, this container is labeled as a sweet container. And because of the container, the sweet is able to stand in the air. Right? In the air. Right? So there's a mutuality of dependence. It's not just only one way. It's not only one way. There's a mutuality of dependence. Okay. So through this mutuality of dependence, then things are posited. Objectively, you explore, nothing will be found. The lower schools, they believe in objective existence. So then when you go to explore what is there on the object, you'll be able to account for this. But the inactuality, this is where you end up in contradiction. Okay. 108. Both the thought subject and to be thought is the object are mutually dependent. And by dependence on acceptance, all objects of analysis express. Everything is posited on the basis of the mutuality of dependence. Nothing is really there as independent. Right? 109. If they analyze, okay, now what is said is that, okay, so what you said that, what are you? I'm just a 6 elements. And with the 6 elements, where are you? You disappear, I disappear, right? This is known as ultimate analysis. With this ultimate analysis, what do you find? You find that nothing exists objectively. Okay, with this, then this mind which analyzes, this mind, ultimate analysis, right? This mind, ultimate analysis, does it exist objectively? Even this mind which is ultimate analysis, if that mind, if you substitute ultimate by another ultimate analysis, even that will disappear, right? Okay, 109. If the analytical intelligence, the ultimate analysis, is that which examines the intrinsic nature to see what is intrinsically there, what is objectively there, to analyze the ultimate, then the intelligence also subject to examination. If you subject the same intelligence into analysis, this leads to then you will find nothing, right? Then nothing is there. Right? So this flower does not exist because you substitute ultimate analysis, it disappears. It's not really there. The ultimate analysis, you analyze this mind, even this also disappears. So there's nothing there. What is there? Here, what is there? Just emptiness, no flower. No flower is there. No flower is there. No Singapore is there. Right? Then no 930 is there. Huh? No 9 is there. What is there then? Just emptiness. So 930 living class, it does not exist. Huh? So the flower exists or not exist? It does not exist. But we see that the flower disappears when we analyze. Huh? Okay. So this analysis does not mean that flower doesn't exist. Flower exists, everything exists. This analysis means nothing exists objectively. Then where do things exist? Where? Just subjectively, just on the mere appearance, like illusion. Okay, good. Wow, it's amazing. In 9 days you got it. Yeah. Okay. 110. When the object of analysis is being examined, the analysis has no basis. Being devoid of basis, it does not arise. That is called natural nirvana. So same what we did earlier, right? When the object of analysis is being examined, say the flower is examined, the flower disappears. The self-examined, self disappears. The intelligence, this ultimate analysis also examined, even that also disappears. Analysis on no basis, you will never find any object there. Being devoid of a basis, it does not arise objectively. Objectively, nothing's there. So what is there then? What is there from the object side? Is natural nirvana is there. Natural nirvana means from the object side, the suffering is empty. Suffering dissolves. You're getting it? Depression dissolves. Stress, tension, all this depression on the object level, from the object side, everything dissolves. Everything is not there. This is known as the natural nirvana. Okay, 111. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going a little fast. And you are a little slow, maybe. Right? Okay. Mutual dependency, that's true. Okay, 111. For them meaning those people who, the advocates of objective existence, for them, advocates of objective existence or realists, for them, the two are true. Two meaning, say the object and the subject. Object and the mind. Those two are true. True meaning objectively true, objectively real. For them, for the advocates of the objective existence. But for them to defend this position that things as objectively real, it's very difficult for them to maintain it. It is extremely hard to maintain. If an object is established by the power of the cognition, then you say if the object does exist objectively. Now this is more like a revision of what we already covered earlier. If the object flower does exist objectively, how do you know the object exists? Because I can see this with my cognition, my mind. If an object is established by the power of the cognition of the mind, on what basis existence of the cognition is established? How do you know that this consciousness exists? You go like this, then you can go to you will end up in infinite regress if you believe in objectively existence. Okay, this is what we already did earlier. 112. And if a cognition is established through the object, same. If you say that no, the object is established by the cognition, then the cognition is established by the object. If you go like this, mutual dependency, then what is the basis for existence of the object? Then say the same thing. So how would you say that cognition, object is established, they say the cognition is established by the object, then on what basis the object is established? So the only choice left is mutuality of dependence. If you accept mutuality of dependence, you have to discard objective existence. You have to discard independent existence. Then what is the basis of existence of the object? The existence is by the power of mutual dependence, right? Which entails that both would not truly exist. And if they are mutually dependent, they are not truly existent. They are not independently existent. Okay. 113. Okay, now it's more like the summary done with the help of the example. Say the father and the son, or father and the child. Father and child. Say if a man without a child is not a father, where does the child come from? And in the absence of the child, there can be no father. Again, the two are not truly existent. These two are mutually dependent. Say before the child is not known as the father. With the child, these two are simultaneous. Cause effect cannot be possible. With cause effect means sequential, right? Okay. So the child because of the father because of the child, there's a mutuality dependence. There's no independent existence. Okay, 114. A sprout grows from a seed, and just as a seed is indicated by the sprout, meaning that the sprout grows by dependence on the seed, right? There's a dependency. One. Number two, the seed is indicated by the sprout. If you see a sprout, you don't see a seed. From there you can indicate that, from there you can infer that, okay, for example, let's say that how many of you know that you have lungs? You know you have lungs. Did you see your lungs? You have never seen your lungs. How do you know that you have lungs? You have never seen that, right? Okay, this is the problem. You may not have lungs. You have not seen that. You have not seen that. Okay. Okay, maybe the doctors will tell you. Okay. Okay, others. The doctor asks later. Okay, others. How do you know that you have lungs? Huh? Breathing may be done through your heart. Huh? Alfred?
If you want to see your lungs, you just go for X-ray.
Wonderful, that's amazing. Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah. If you want to see your lungs, you have to go to X-ray. That's good. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you. Okay. But how many of you have never seen X-rays, right? Those who have never seen X-rays, you have never seen your lungs. How do you know there is a lungs? Okay. Say by inference. We breathe. There must be a machine. There must be a machine, whether it's hard or whatever, it doesn't matter. The machine inside. Machine inside that does the work of the breathing. That machine is known as lungs. Whether it's hard or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's a machine. 100% there's a machine. That machine is known as lungs. Okay, so this is how we infer. Likewise, you see a sprout, you never see the seed before. You suddenly come to Singapore. Okay, by the way, Singapore, yeah, let's say the small flower, real flowers. Okay, say there's a real flower, and then you see the flower, but you have never seen the seed of this flower. Right? So from seeing the flower, you can infer, okay, earlier there was a seed. You're getting it? So you can infer the seed. So this is from the seed, the shoot grows. This is dependence, cause-effect dependency. Then from the shoot, you can infer the seed. Right? That's a dependency. So it says a sprout grows from seed, and just as seed is indicated by the sprout, by the arising of a cognition from the object, why cannot its true existence be realized? This is stanza 116, is the opponent's view. Opponent's view, what they are saying is that the true existence, the sun, for example, they say there's the seed of this flower. This flower is a real flower. This flower is not a fake flower, it's a real flower, yeah. It's a real flower, which means that a seed of this flower, a seed preceded this flower, right? From the seed, this flower grow, and from this flower we can infer the seed, right? So from this flower we can infer the seed. This is so obvious. So from the flower we can infer the objectively existent seed. Right? You don't have to say the seed exists coming from your mind. It really exists here. So therefore, how is it not possible that we can infer? We can infer the seed, objectively existent seed, because of seeing the flower, the result. By what? 115. If the seed is realized by 114. A sprout grows from a seed, and just as the seed is indicated by a sprout, by the arising of cognition from the object. From the object, arising by the arising of the cognition from the object, why cannot its true existence be realized? Say from the object of flower, then I consciousness seeing the flower arises. So therefore, by dependence on the flower, objectively existence I consciousness seeing the flower arises. So how can you not accept that on the basis of the flower, the objectively existent I consciousness seeing the flower arises. Objectively existent cognition arises. Cognition meaning the mind. Okay, this is the opponent's view, right? Okay, 115. In other words, opponent's view is what? That if there's a proper cause of a relationship happening, it cannot be subjectively real. It should be real. You're getting it? If there's a cause of a relationship, it should not be subjectively real. It should be objectively real. Why? If it's subjectively real, it becomes imaginary. Imaginary cannot go compatibly with, imaginary objects cannot go compatibly with cause of a relationship, dependent origination relationship, right? If there's cause of a relationship, the seed gives rise to the sprout. You don't have to imagine. Seed will give rise to a sprout. Seeing a sprout, you can infer. Without it, you don't have to imagine. Seed existed. It preceded, right? So this is objectively existent. This is what the opponents say. Okay. 115. If the seed is realized by cognition, different from the sprout, by what is the existence of the cognition realized, which cognizes the object? Okay, now this is what we have already done earlier. So say, if the seed is realized by cognition different from the sprout, if you look at the flower, then from there you infer the seed and the sprout, the flower, these two are seen as different. By what? By my cognition, by my mind. Cognition means by mind. Then the question is, by what is the existence of the cognition? This cognition, with help of what? This cognition is cognized. This cognition. By what is the existence of the cognition realized, which cognizes the object? This cognition. So this cognition either should be cognized by itself, or it should be cognized by, this cognition, if it does exist, if you know that it exists, it should be either known by itself, or it should be known by another mind. So it cannot possibly be cognized by itself, because self-cognition is rejected. And it cannot be cognized by another objectively existent mind, because these two become independent entities, unrelated entities. If these two are unrelated, they cannot cognize each other. Right? Okay. Luckily we are done with this. Okay, now the next part. We have now we have another like 20, 30 stanzas. Okay, we'll still we have time. Never mind. Okay, next. Okay, so I'm going a little fast. Right. Okay, I'm going a little fast. Those of us who find that, oh, he's going a little fast, don't worry. So say at least pay attention to what is being discussed. Even if you think that you are not getting anything, right? You are actually getting so many things. You are unaware of that. You are unaware of that. You're actually getting so many things. You're getting it? Okay, why I'm saying this? I'm saying this with great conviction and confidence. Why I'm saying this with confidence? I have a confidence. What confidence? With my own personal experience. I don't know whether I shared it here. Perhaps I shared it in the Malaysia retreat, Genting retreat, right? I don't know whether I shared it here.
Yes.
Shared it here?
Yes.
Which experience? Oh yes, not Pramana Vartika, Abhidhamma Kosh. Did I share this with you in this class? Huh? Okay, those people who attended the Genting retreat and other retreats, I don't trust you. Because just as I get mixed up, you also may be getting mixed up, two things. Those who did not attend anyone who did not attend any of the earlier retreats, and still you say that yes, you said it, raise your hands. Did I say this? You also attended the earlier retreats. Jambi retreat, you attended it. Jambi, I may have said it in Jambi. Okay, since I said it, so I trust you. Okay. Okay, then no need. So, did I say this? You don't remember? You attended the earlier retreats. Did I say this? Are you sure? If Nick says this, yes, and then it's very authentic. Okay, let's see. Now with this, what I'm saying is that even though I'm going a little fast, you are getting something. And later on, if you re-listen to the recordings, then it becomes very easy for you. Okay, 116. By direct perception of the conventional world, all causes are seen, right? The multiple paths like a lotus, stalks and so forth grow by means of multiple causes. Okay, so here luckily there are a few stanzas which we're going to skip. Okay. Okay, so now saying that by direct perception of the conventional world, all causes are seen. For example, say if you see this flower growing, or say if you go to horticulture, then you may see the house, so many causes involved for, say, growing one particular flower. So by direct perceptions of the conventional world, all causes are seen. The multiple paths like a lotus, the stalks, the petals, and so forth, grow by means of multiple causes, which means that no single cause cannot give rise to multiple results. For multiple results, there must be multiple causes involved, which means that no one agent can create all phenomena. Right? Grow by means of multiple causes. 117. What has produced those multiple causes? Then the question is, then what causes those multiple causes? Right? The previous multiple causes. You go back like this. It's not that there's one agent who decides everything. This is a very serious practice that we have to do in this life. In other words, rejecting the concept of an absolute creator. Right? If rationally don't ever reject the philosophy of other traditions simply because you don't like the other philosophy. Right? Never ever do it. So in fact we should have a sense of openness that whatever reflects the reality, I'm ready to accept it. For example, I remember His Holiness the Dalai Lama very clearly saying that if the science is able to prove that there's no rebirth, I'll be the first person to embrace it. Right? This is a very courageous thing. This is a very sensible thought that I should accept the reality. Why should I have to accept something as a dogma? This idea. So with that in mind, never ever reject other philosophies simply because you don't like it. Instead, you can reject if you think that it does not tally with the reality. And one which is very dangerous is which somebody asked me last year doing one-on-one interview, right? Here in Singapore. Last year. Not last year. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Question asked was that, okay, you're a Buddhist. I said, yes. This is a very unconventional question coming from a Singaporean. Right? Very, what do you call it? Challenging. You're a Buddhist. I said, yes. And he said, more challenging. He said, imagine if you're not born in a Buddhist family, do you think that you're going to be still a Buddhist? This was his question. This is a very unconventional Singaporean question. Right? Then I said that this is an extremely important question. If not 100%, 99% of the people, if not 99%, at least 80% of the people following religions, they follow because they are born in this religion. Not because of the analysis of the reality. Right? Okay. So with this, having said this, so what is very important is that say one thing which dominates the mind of the ordinary people is the belief in the absolute creator God, absolute creator. Don't reject creator God out of you disliking other religions. This is a total wrong approach, right? Total wrong approach. The point is that you must see, explore, analyze, and then if you realize that if somebody says that, oh, Geshe, what is sitting next to you is actually a snake. What is on your table? This is a snake, right? If I'm blindfolded, I may trust the person. If I'm not blindfolded, no, this is not a snake. This is a flower. I can see this. 100% is a flower. Even thousands of people come to tell me that this is a snake, I can reject it. You're getting it? So you have to accept the reality. So now, one thing which, although we talk about this, we have to accept the reality, but the tendency for us to do is that unless we become gifted with very sharp intelligence to inquire, right? Otherwise, we tend to follow blindly in many cases. So therefore, believing in a concept of creator God, people can easily slide into this, and then the whole nation, whole continent can follow this belief. And if you ask question, you're in problem. You're getting it? You're not allowed to ask question. Okay, so whereas the Buddha's approach is so beautiful. Buddha said, never accept things because you respect me. Right? Just as a goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing, and burning the gold, you should also examine members and put them to practice, not simply because you respect me. From that point, we are so lucky that we are following this tradition of the Buddha. Right? So, with this, if you again say that what the Buddha said is correct, whatever the other says is wrong, what the Buddha says is correct, this is again a wrong approach. This does not tally with the Buddha's approach, right? We should have. Okay, now with this learning of how the entity, the agent, which is said to have created the whole world. Only if you follow the reasoning. By following the reasoning, when you're able to reject it very thoroughly with so much confidence, then in the future lifetimes there is no danger. In the future lifetimes, even if you are born in such a family, you can still, not find it convincing. And then you can go very easily with the reality. Okay, for that matter, in this life, we should be prepared. Okay, with this, the 22 stanza, page 22. Why does a cause have the ability to bring an effect? Well, due to the power of the previous causes, not because there's some agent who decides everything for us. Okay, otherwise, believing in an agent in deciding everything for us, it has so many contradictions, so many contradictions. In fact, I remember once there was, what is that, the tsunami. Tsunami occurred. What is Kevin, tsunami, something like that. The East Coast, West Coast, I don't remember. So in America, right, tsunami happened, and I was watching the television news. With the tsunami, there are so many aids. They run towards that place to charity, aid groups. They all go there to help the people. And then the CNN was interviewing, these groups. And one group was the evangelist group. There's one, I learned that he was a very popular person, television person. So he was in this group and he was interviewed. And the CNN person, he was very daring. He asked one question. Okay, the question asked was that, so according to your belief, this tsunami was because of the God's action. Then he said yes. So this tsunami destroyed so many lives. And then, okay, the elder ones is fine, like us, we did something wrong, so therefore God punished us, that's fine. But so many innocent young children were also died, were also destroyed, were also killed by the tsunami. So what wrong did they do for the God to punish them? This question asked. And actually, okay, this question was asked, and then the person, I think the father, the pastor or the father or a priest or whatever, he said that this is the greatest philosophical complications which we cannot really give the answer. He very openly said it. So these are the contradictions, right? So believing in a God and punishing somebody. Okay, somebody, say like age 20 or 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, you did something good, something bad, so the God punished you. That's fine. But what about a one-day-old child? He or she did not do anything bad. And then washed away by the tsunami, sucked into the main ocean and died there. Why did the God punish? Right? What bad did he do? Okay, so these are the contradictions. These are contradictions, and many of the contradictions pointed here. At the page 22, we are not going to go into detail, so this we can read on our own. Okay, with this, now we skip to, wow. We skip to page 26. Up to all these stanzas, they are the rejection of the positions of the non-Buddhist traditions. Non-Buddhist traditions, they are more intellectual, right? So what is so relevant to us very directly is like page 139. Page 139. But I would say that it would be good if you get time to study these things. Right? Okay. And if you're so keen that I should do it, then you make a request to TBC, right? Next year again, 10 days. Okay, page 26. Page 26, stanza 139. Stanza 139. Without getting the object of analysis, the absence of that object cannot be apprehended. Okay, this is a very common 2 lines. Studied as a part of the emptiness concept. Say, this has 2 different interpretations. One interpretation is a very common one, which you find in Lama Tsongkhapa's the book, which says that, for example, we speak about, in order to understand emptiness, what is emptiness? What do you mean by emptiness? What do you understand by emptiness? Emptiness is a short form of? Emptiness of independent existence. Okay, good. So to say emptiness of independent existence, your emptiness of independent existence is positive phenomena, negative phenomena? Negative phenomena, right? Negative phenomena means of an object which is which a mind cognizes. I think we learned it last year, right? No, 10 years ago. An object which a mind cognizes through explicitly negating the object of negation. Right? Some people, they attended 10 years ago. They could say this. You remember it? Did we do it this time? Yes. An object which a mind cognizes through explicitly negating the object of negation. Okay, so emptiness is the object which a mind cognizes through explicitly negating the object of negation. What's the object of negation of emptiness? Inherent existence, objective existence. Good. Okay, by explicitly negating objective existence, inherent existence. If you don't know what exactly does it mean by inherent existence, you cannot negate it. You getting it? Okay. So therefore it says, without getting the object of analysis, object analysis here, object of negation. Without getting the object of negation well, without understanding what object of negation is, absence of that object cannot be apprehended. Absence of this, you cannot speak about the empty, you cannot understand the emptiness of that object of negation. Right? Okay. This is how, which is most the common way of understanding and the interpreting these two lines. Okay, now another way of interpreting these two lines, without getting the object of analysis, meaning, so okay, let's say you are in dream. You're in dream, and the example is given there. Let's say you're dreaming, and you dream that, they say you have, say what? Okay, I'm me. I'm I dream, say when I was age 20. I lost my father when I was age 30 something. Right? Say when I was age 20, I dream of losing my father. Let's say. It did happen to me. It did happen to me before I actually lost my father. So say that I dreamt of having lost my father. Okay. So now somebody comes to console me in the dream. Somebody comes to console me. Oh, Geshe, such things can happen to everyone, right? Okay, so I want to see my father, right? I crave to see my father, but the realization that your father is gone, your father has left the world, so that obstructs me to have the vision of the father. You getting it? So there are two thoughts. Which is more powerful? That, I should see the father, and the other one, no, your father already left the world. Which is more powerful? The father, that your father left the world. That is more powerful. So that powerful mind stops me from actually, okay, I will see my father. Right? That thought is stopped because of this very powerful thought that I have lost my father. Okay. So, which is true? Which is true? The loss of the father and seeing the father, both are not true. When I wake up, whatever happened in the dream, it was just dream. Loss of the father, right? And then the thought of the loss of father stopping me from stopping me from seeing the father. These are all, both are illusion. Both sides are illusion. Okay, so therefore, it says that the father, absence of my father, right? So only because I had a very strong feeling of my father, then with the absence of father, that concept, absence of father, has effect on my mind. Absence of father, I don't want to think about it, right? So because of the father, then the absence of father. The father is also dream, and the absence of father in the dream is also dream. Right? So when the father in the dream is dream, then absent father is more dream than the father. You getting it? Okay. So it says that without getting the object of analysis, the father, this is second interpretation. Without seeing the father as objectively real, absence of the father to be objectively real is even less true. Right? The father to be objectively, which is the objectively real? Father or the absence of father, which is objectively real? Hey, the father is objectively real or the absence of the father is objectively real? So the computer is hanging. Father is objectively real or the absence of the father is objectively real? The Father is objectively real. Wow, this is Singaporean style. After learning the 9 days of emptiness, the Father is objectively real. Which side exists objectively? Okay, absence of Father exists objectively. Right? So there's something which exists objectively. So which exists objectively? The Father exists objectively, or the absence of Father exists objectively? Both exist objectively. Wow. Neither exists objectively. Neither exists objectively. Okay. See, neither exists objectively. So which means that when the Father as the object does not exist objectively, absence of the Father cannot exist objectively even more. So therefore, without getting the objective, second interpretation, without getting the objective analysis meaning, without getting the object, the Father, as objectively real, then the absence of the object to be objectively real is even less likelihood. Cannot be apprehended. Therefore, the lack of any false lack, instead of lack, we change it to absence. Therefore, the absence of any false object is clearly a falsity. In the dream, meeting with the Father is not true. Right? Then losing the Father is also not true. So the Father is not true, absence of the Father is also not true. Okay, therefore the absence of the false object in the Father, which is also false, absence also becomes false. 140. Thus upon the death of a child in the dream, the thought he does not exist is a hindrance to think of his existence. Okay, say the mother and the child, and in the dream the mother dreamt of the death of the child, what I explained, right? So they thought that, oh, now my child doesn't exist. That is so powerful that it obstructs the mother from thinking that my child exists. But both a dream. It's a hindrance to thinking of this existence, and yet that the child does not exist, it's false. Yet that the child does not exist is also false. In the dream. Because it's a dream. Okay, which is false? In the dream, say I'm dreaming. Right? I'm dreaming, and you are awakened. You're woken up, and say, in my dream, okay, first I had my father, and then I lost my father, right? Then, oh, now I cannot, no, my father doesn't exist. My father doesn't exist. That overpowers my belief that my father exists, which is true. From you are awakened, you are woken up, and I'm still in the dream. Both are dream. From your side, both are false. Okay. Yet the child does not exist, although it is true in the dream. Yet from your point of view, somebody who is woken up is also false. Okay, this is how. Okay, I don't want to go into too detail now. Okay, a summary, 1 for 1. Therefore, when analyzed in that way, nothing exists causelessly. So, anything that exists should necessarily exist. Anything that exists, a composite phenomena. Again, we have to qualify this. Any composite phenomena should necessarily exist, but depends on cause. It can never exist causelessly. Things do not exist in their conditions, whether individually or collectively. Now, when you subject this to ultimate analysis, we see that things don't exist. Things exist, same. Composite phenomena exist by dependence on causes. Yes? Yes. There's nothing which does not exist causelessly. Causeless production is rejected. Now, but depends on causes. The cause, we see that when we analyze objectively, we see that nothing really exists objectively. Even the flower is not in the cause, in the condition. You analyze this, again with the same analysis which we did earlier, we see that when subject to ultimate analysis, even the dependence on the cause also disappears. Right? Same, causeless production, easily rejected. Production from the cause, objectively, it can be rejected by subjecting this to ultimate analysis. Very good. Okay. 142. A thing does not emerge from something else, does not abide. Now, when subject things to ultimate analysis, now this is from the ultimate analysis point of view. When subject things to ultimate, because why? Because they say why this analysis is done? Because our our, say, the natural, or our, say, the chronic thinking believes things to be existing objectively. So to reject this, we have to subject things to ultimate. If things really exist objectively, then it should be findable through ultimate analysis. So we subject things to ultimate analysis. Then we see that summary, one for one. Therefore, when analyzed in that way, meaning when analyzed in the ultimate, through ultimate analysis, nothing exists. No, sorry, 142. A thing does not emerge from something else. When subject to ultimate analysis, we see that nothing really emerged from something else, another cause, does not abide, nor does it go. Same, arising, abiding, and going. Same, 2018 came from 2017. Now 2018 is abiding. When 2017, during 2017, 2018 was future. Right? So it, from 2017, 2018 came into being. It, from the future, it became the present. Now it is present moment, and 2019 arises, it will become the past. You're getting it? So, say past, present, and future. All these things, it exists conventionally, but when a subject, but do not exist objectively. 142. A thing does not emerge from something else. Emerge means the future. Does not abide. Does not abide means the present, and does it go, meaning going to the past. Anything viewed as truly existent by ignorance, how is it different from an illusion? If you believe that things are so objectively real, this is purely illusion. It's not really true. Okay. So we have to struggle the next few stanzas, then we are done. 143. Reasoning of dependent origination to establish the view of selfless. Finally, say emptiness. Emptiness. The other stuff, the other side of the coin is the dependent origination. 143. For anything emanated by magician or anything emanated by causes, examine where it comes from and also where it goes to. Say what is created by the magician, what is created by the causes. If you subject them to ultimate analysis, it's just illusion. Right? From the object, there's nothing really there. It's more like conclusion. 144. How can there be true existence in contrived objects like a reflection? Say, the reflection of the moon in the water, 500 monkeys died, right? 500 monkeys died because of feeling compassion to the reflection of the moon in the water. You know the story? No, Singaporeans, you didn't know the story. No, you don't know the story. How many of you know the story? Okay, so it is said that, say, the monkeys, usually they see the moon where? Up in the sky. So this is the home for the home for the moon. And one day the monkeys, they so happened that they are next to the pond suddenly, and that too happened during what? Full moon day. And then they saw the reflection there. One monkey saw the reflection there, and this monkey started crying to everyone, saying, "Oh, the poor moon has fallen." Right? And then this monkey was trying to save the moon, and the 500 monkeys, they were helping each other to grab the moon. They all drowned in the water. Right? This is the story. So it says that how can they be 144? How can they be true existence in contrived objects like a reflection? Reflection moon, how can there be a moon there? Objectively real moon there. It's a contrived. Contrived meaning is something coming into being, fabricated. Contrived, fabricated, not true, right? Which is seen in conjunction with something. So things come into being only by dependence on something else. What is something else? By dependence on other factors. For example, say, how many of you feel that yes, I exist? How many of you feel this thought? How many have this feeling that yes, I do exist? We all have this feeling, right? I do exist. What is this I? Right? You just see that we are just made of 6 elements. Yes, you agree with me? Which of the 6 elements is you? Nothing. So you go like this, there's nothing really there, right? So he says, which is, but when you don't analyze like this, then there's a self. How does self come into being? Say some are boys, some are girls. How? Because of the body. And some are compassionate, some are not compassionate. How? Because of the mind, right? But because of these factors, then the entity comes into being as a boy, girl, compassionate, not compassionate, Singaporeans, Indians, Tibetans, whatever. All this come into being, but it depends on different factors. But there was something else, which is seen in conjunction with something, and which does not exist when that factor is absent. When the body is absent, there is no boy, girl. You agree with me? When the mind is absent, there is no compassionate person, no intelligent person. All this dissolves. So it is sheer, but depends on other things, but dependence on other factors that this I originate, but dependence on the small island. Right? Singapore comes into origination. It's only through sheer dependence on other factors that things come into being. Nothing really exists there as an independent entity. This is very powerful. So therefore, reflection on dependent origination is extremely important. Precisely when we go through this, say, emptiness, and then you meditate, study, meditate, then you get some kind of conviction that nothing's really there. Then there's a tendency that you can fall into nihilism. When that happens, it is advised to think of dependent origination more. How things come into being, but dependence on other factors. How things come into origination, but depends on other factors. Right? Okay. Reasoning to establish emptiness from the viewpoint of effect. 145. For a thing that is existent, what need is there for a cause? Okay, now this is a very powerful ultimate analysis, right? Okay, with this very powerful ultimate analysis, let's say that, okay, tell me, say the shoot and the seed and the shoot. The shoot grows from the seed. Yes? No? Yes. Don't think about the shoot giving rise to the next seed. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about the seed of 2017 and the shoot of 2018. Right? Not talking about the shoot of 2018 and the seed which will be given rise to later. Okay. Seed and shoot. Okay. Let's say, so the seed is the cause or the effect of the shoot? This seed, this particular seed, is the cause. Okay. Now tell me, this seed, what did the seed do for this cause to arise? What did it do? It transformed into the shoot. So this transformation is known as production. Yes? So the seed produced the shoot. So produce the shoot means there's an act of production. Act of producing. Yes? No? Yes. Okay, tell me. This act of producing was existent or non-existent? Without existence, the shoot cannot arise. If it existent, when? At the time of seed or at the time of shoot? All time. At the time of seed also. If it is at the time of seed, production is not there. Production means there should be the shoot. Without the shoot, the production makes no sense. Right? Seed, just a dry seed on my table, it's not producing the shoot. Right? If it's the time to shoot, it's already produced. What's the benefit of producing? Right? It's very mentally. It's very torturing. First time I was 21 or 22, maybe 21. The first time I heard this, I was analyzing. Where's the production? Act of production. At time seed? No. At time shoot? No. Without this, it cannot happen. When I said, it was a big headache. It's a problem. So the mind becomes so hazy. I literally, so much of discomfort was coming. Feeling a little bit of noisy also coming. Because I cannot pause it where it is. Right? So why I was having this problem was actually this is the ultimate analysis. With the ultimate analysis, you will not find anything, right? So I'm not finding anything, and then I thought this is a conventional analysis, right? Okay. 144. For a thing that is existent, okay. So this production, for the production, say during the shoot, production is not necessary. Because the shoot is already existent. But attraction is to help the shoot, yes? Okay. For a thing that is existent, what need is there for a cause? It is already existent, then the cause is totally irrelevant. Then again, if that is not existent, if it is a horn of a rabbit with hundreds of thousands of causes, horn of a rabbit will never arise. If it is non-existent, cause is no benefit. If it is existent, cause is no benefit. Well, so what is the cause for? Right? 146. There is no transformation of non-existent thing. There's no transformation, non-existent thing like horn of a rabbit. Horn of a rabbit, nothing can transform into a horn of a rabbit. Yes, no? Yes. Right? There is no transformation of a non-existent thing, even by means of 100 million causes. Even if you exert 100 million causes, nothing will change into a horn of a rabbit. How can it, in that state, become a thing? So they say the horn of a rabbit, which is non-existent, right? You put effort, slowly it becomes a horn of a rabbit. It never happens. But what else could be transformed into a thing? But we see that from the shoot, from the seed, the shoot arises. A thing, a shoot comes into being. How come? 147. Since things cannot be possible at the time of the absence of it. Okay, let's say the shoot, does it arise from the seed? Yes. Okay. And when you see the shoot arising from when you see the shoot arising from the seed, how does it appear to you? Objectively real or subjectively real? How do you see that? Objectively real. If it is objectively real, then the shoot and the seed should be objectively real. If this is objectively real, this should be independently real. If this is independently real, this should be unrelated. This should not be dependent. If this is not dependent, these two are unrelated. If this is unrelated, just as what we studied earlier, the darkness will not give rise to light. Because light and darkness, these two are unrelated. Likewise, the seed should not give rise to shoot. Okay, so this all, if you see them as objectively real, then the contradiction arises. If you take them as subjectively real, there's no contradiction. Okay, 147. Since things cannot be possible at the time of the absence of it, when will they come to exist as thing? Okay, let's say, since things meaning the shoot at the time of seed, shoot is absent or shoot is existent? It's absent. So since things cannot be possible at the time of the absence of it, things meaning the shoot cannot be possible at the time of the absence of it. When? At the time of the seed. At the time of seed. When will they come to exist as things? Then this shoot, which is absent at the time of the seed, when will come as a shoot? At the time of the result. What result? Caused by the seed. But the seed and the result, these two are unrelated if they exist objectively. So what is non-existent should always remain non-existent. You getting it? It will never come into existence. Whereas something which is non-existent like a shoot at the time of seed will come to existence only if it is contributed by the seed, which means it should depend on the seed. If it is dependent on the seed, it is not objectively real. Right? Okay. 147. Since things cannot be possible at the time of the absence of it, when will they come to exist as things? Then, when will they come to exist as things? At the time of the result. Without producing a thing, it cannot be freed from non-thing. Meaning that if it is not contributed by the seed, it is independent. Then the seed cannot produce the shoot. Then the absence of the shoot will always remain the absence of the shoot. Absence of the shoot will never become a shoot. It cannot be freed from a non-thing. Meaning it will always remain as a non-thing, non-shoot. It will never be freed from non-shoot to become a shoot. 148. Without being freed from non-thing, okay, this is a little technical, bear with me, and then 157 is easy. No, 150 is become easy. Now 2 stanzas to go, let's pull through. Okay. 148. Without being freed from, just imagine, so you feel, oh, a little tiring. So I could imagine you are tired, but seeing you are tired, I'm tired. Right? 148. Without being free from non-thing, no occasion will there be for a thing to exist. Now, if the non-thing remains non-thing all the time, this non-thing will never have a time for a thing to come into being. From the non-thing, non-shoot, one day at the time of the result, it will become a shoot. It will never happen. No occasion will there be for a thing to exist. And a thing cannot change to a state of non-functionality. Say, the seed, at the time of the shoot, what will happen to the seed? Seed will disappear at the time of the shoot. So seed, which is a functional at the time of the seed, will become non-functional at the time of the shoot. If whereas the seed and shoot, these two are independent, seed will never give rise to the shoot. If it never gives rise to the shoot, seed will always remain as a seed. If the seed always remains a seed, it will never change into a non-functional thing. You're getting it? Okay. And a thing cannot change to a state of non-functionality. Okay, 148. Without being freed from non-things, no occasion will there be for a thing to exist. And a thing cannot change to a state of non-functionality. A thing, the seed, if it is independent of the shoot, it will never change into shoot. If it never changes to shoot, it will remain as a thing all the time. If it remains a thing all the time, it will never become non-functional, non-thing. It would absurdly follow that it had two natures. Then you should say that, either you should say that, okay, thing, non-thing, right? Thing, the seed. And the non-thing, the seed disappears, right? When at time to shoot. So here, if you say that, okay, the seed and the shoot, seed and shoot, the seed and the shoot, say at that time, the seed is half, shoot is half, is a production. Yeah? Production, the seed is half, shoot is half, then half seed, half shoot, which is totally absurd. Right? Seed is seed, shoot is shoot. At times shoot there is no seed. But if you say that it is in between means half-half. So, which means that two natures, nature of the seed, nature of the shoot, effect, both should be there, but this is totally unacceptable. Okay. It would absurdly follow that it had two true natures. Two true natures means half seed, half effect. Two natures. Half nature of the seed, half nature of the shoot. Two true natures. This is absurd. 149. In that way, as cessation does not exist, arising of things does not exist either. Okay, so now with this, say the seed coming to an end when the sprout arises. Seed coming, okay, when the sprout arises, what happens to the seed? Seed stops, seed ceases. Cessation of the seed happens when the sprout arises, when the shoot arises. So if this is how we understand that the seed and shoot, these are independent, the seed will never cease. Seed will always remain as a seed, because seed will never give rise to a shoot. Seed will always remain as a seed. If the seed always remains a seed, seed will never come to have the cessation of the seed. Okay, then the cessation cannot be posited. If the cessation is not there, then arising cannot be posited, because without the seed ceasing, the shoot cannot arise. So without the cessation, arising cannot be posited. 149. In that way, as cessation does not exist, arising of things does not exist either. All sentient beings at all times never are arising nor ceasing. So from the ultimate analysis, with this ultimate analysis, we see that sentient beings don't arise, sentient beings don't cease. You're getting it? In other words, in this ultimate analysis, sentient beings are free from ceasing and arising. Okay, so in these experiences, see the sentient beings, right, meeting with suffering, right, and getting away from the happiness is also dissolved. In other words, in this analysis, we see that everything of the samsara, misery, stress, tension, anxiety, sickness, aging, death, all dissolve. You're getting it? So, this experience, if you're able to really experience it, in this experience, we see that all the turbulence, mental disturbance, all stop. So that experience is known as the nirvana. In that experience, right? Okay, this experience. If you can maintain this experience, so the arhats, what they do is that they can go into this experience, but then they have to come back. Bodhisattvas, they can go into this experience, they can come back. It is only a Buddha who can go into this experience and then stay there eternally, right? Okay. Now with this is a very profound experience. So where you see that this ultimate reality. So the Buddhas, they merge with ultimate reality. Ultimate reality where sickness, aging, death, all these, you wake up from the dream. In other words, you wake up from the dream. Dream, which is the ultimate reality, where every element of the dream, good, bad, happiness, miseries, everything of the dream dissolves when you wake up. Yes, no. So therefore the Buddha is referred to as the fully awakened one. Right? Okay. So this, if you can experience it, you can stay there in this experience. What happens? Okay, let's say each one of you have meditated on this experience, you experience this, that in this ultimate the analysis, everything dissolves. And that too, you reach to the level of how we started, say wisdom drawn through learning, wisdom drawn through reflection, wisdom drawn through meditation. Within the meditation there are two, conceptual, non-conceptual. So this is how we progress. We progress, imagine that you have reached that level, non-conceptual experience of the meditation. This non-conceptual, be mindful. There are some traditions where they use this word, non-conceptual experience, direct experience of non-conceptual. This is what is being, this vocabulary is being used, but it is in their context. How that vocabulary is used in that tradition and how that is used in the main Nalanda tradition is very different. So don't mix up two things, right? Some people, they say that no need for conceptual, we have to go directly into non-conceptual. What they are saying is in their concept, but it is the referent, the meaning is different. Right? Same label, but the meaning is different. In actuality, what they consider as non-conceptual is actually conceptual. So conceptual, we have to go, right? This is something which we have to discuss more, but okay, fine. Now with this, so say you reach this level where you have the non-dual experience of the emptiness, where all conventionalities dissolve. Okay. So say, okay, when Rabdana is going through this experience, so we are watching him. Right? So with respect to him, right, aging, sickness, death, everything dissolves. Right? For him, the same. See, with respect to the convention, ultimate analysis, everything dissolves. Now we are watching him. We are watching what is going through. Say if we are able to see his mind, what is happening? We are using the convention analysis, ultimate analysis when we are watching him. We are using the convention. So as he is going through this meditation, we are watching him. What we see is that his experience of meditation, emptiness, becoming deeper, 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 deeper. Meaning, opposite of that gets reduced, right? Say self-grasping ignorance is cleansed more, 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 more. So therefore, he is going through gate, gate, parasamgate, bursa. But he himself is just non-dual into this. He himself is not seeing this gate, gate. But we, from the conventional analysis, we see him as going through the gate, gate, paragate. So the functionality is there. Even with respect to his mind, functionality is still there with respect to the conventional mind. Mind analyzing convention. You're getting it? But with the mind analyzing the ultimate, this function, everything dissolves. That is known as the natural nirvana. So what he is experiencing is the natural nirvana. With this, with the conventional analysis, you are watching this mind. Then when his mental defilements become zero or self-grasping ignorance becomes zero, then what he is experiencing is the natural nirvana. And now at this point, what we are seeing is the conventional nirvana. Not just the national nirvana, but we are seeing the conventional nirvana, that he has already freed from the self-grasping ignorance. We see this. But with his experience, he's still into the non-dual experience. He cannot, for him, he's just into the ultimate analysis, not in conventional analysis. So things exist. Things do not exist independently of the conventional analysis or ultimate analysis, right? So what he is saying is, what really exists there, independent of the conventional analysis, ultimate analysis, nothing is really there. Things exist only on the conventional analysis, right? With the conventional analysis, then everything exists. With the ultimate analysis with respect to him, everything dissolves, right? So with this, then the self-grasping ignorance dissolves. It is But he is not experiencing that. He's not experiencing. He's just experiencing the emptiness. And what is happening there? So, what is happening there? What is happening there? That is conventional ultimate. What is happening there? Conventional. Conventional means that should be seen by the mind analyzing the conventional. Whose mind? Our mind. We're observing, we can see this. You're getting it? Okay, this is where we see the harmony of the ultimate reality and the conventional reality. With respect to Venerable Rabdanla, he's experienced the ultimate reality, and his mind is non-dual with ultimate reality. With respect to the conventional mind, we see that this same mind is going through a process of cleansing. Right? Okay, this is the functionality is happening with respect to our mind, but with respect to his mind, national nirvana is being experienced. Emptiness and functionality, these two are happening. Same entity in different isolates, right? With respect to the two different thinking processes, we see two different things. By entity-wise, it's the same object. Right? Same object. This is known as the entity by same isolate difference. Okay. Now, 150, we reach the plateau. Right? Okay. So, from this, if, say, the compassion, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I think 2013, one morning, His Holiness, I received a call from the secretary, His Holiness secretary, when in Delhi, His Holiness was in Delhi. Then I was, one early morning, I was called there. I had the audience with His Holiness, and His Holiness gave me a lengthy advice on how to do the Tibet house, all these things. So then at one point, His Holiness said that, okay, whenever you Tibet organizes some program, and the bigger programs, you can conduct this, undertaking the ceremony of Aspiration Bodhisattva vow, which we used to do every day during the Bodhiji retreats. So then, in addition to this, His Holiness said that pertaining to the wisdom of emptiness, pertaining to compassion, it would be good if you can add these stanzas from Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, chapter 9. So stanza 150 down till the end, this is what His Holiness advised us to add, to reinforce compassion as a part of the Bodhisattva practice. Okay, so compassion. What is being discussed here is about emptiness. Compassion, what is the degree of compassion that is determined by, right, two factors. Compassion is two sides. One is the subjective side, and the other one is the object side. Subject side and object side. Object side is, say, for example, subject side is, say, we love our mothers. You love your mother, right? So this is a subjective element, feeling of love and affection. Then the object is, say, your mother. So when you see your mother to whom you love so much, when you see the mother happy, okay, you're happy. When you see your mother sick, then you wish what? May you be free from suffering. You're getting it? May you be free from suffering. So when you see the mother in the plight of the sickness, ailment, that is the object. Subject is the feeling of love and affection. They say the same person, you see that the neighbor, a very nasty neighbor's mother, sick, may you be free from suffering. It will not happen. May you have more suffering. Right? Which means why this is not happening is because you don't love the person. So compassion has two sides. One is the feeling of love. Feeling of love. One. So that has to be practiced separately. That feeling of love towards all sentient beings must be practiced separately. It will never happen automatically, right? Even with the wisdom of emptiness, it will come to some certain stage. With the wisdom of emptiness, right? Wisdom of emptiness will counteract the self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance calms down. Anger is the offshoot of self-grasping ignorance. Anger comes down. When the anger comes down, because anger comes down, it leaves room. So then what was opposite of anger? Love and affection grows. It leaves room for love and affection. But that love and affection is something which is common between the personal liberation seekers, arahats, and the bodhisattvas. This is common. Love and affection generated due to the practice of wisdom of emptiness is common between the Bodhisattvas and the what? Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas, personal liberation seekers. Now, that unique love and affection which the Bodhisattvas practice is something which will not happen automatically because of the practice of the wisdom of emptiness. Don't forget it. That will come only through deliberate practice of the two methods. Sevenfold cause-effect method and the equalizing and exchanging the self for others method. Only through these two methods, then this love and affection can be cultivated. Right? Without this, it will never happen spontaneously. Keep this in mind. One, now feeling of love and affection is to be cultivated by these two methods. Now, so what degree of love, the love and affection that the young child, age 4, 5, 6, 7, feels toward the mother is very intense, but does not see the mother's problem. Right? Doesn't see the mother's problem because of this compassion is less intense. Love is very intense, but the compassion, may you be free from suffering, that is very less. That is not as intense. Now, with this very intense love and affection, if you see the pain so intense, for example, say if you and your mother live separated, but you love your mother so much, right? And your mother has just a temporary headache. And would you feel a sense of urgency to give you stop your job, give up your job to serve your mother? No. Whereas if your mother is going through a terminal illness where she needs 24 hours attention, then you will be ready to give up your job. Because you see the urgency there, right? The more you see the urgency there, more your compassion will be intense. You're getting it? So there are two things. One is love and affection should be cultivated separately, intensify this through a separate method. And then the suffering side, that the mother, what degree of suffering? If you see the mother suffering only 10%, your compassion is 10%. If you see the mother's suffering as 80%, your compassion will grow, intensely grow 80%, because your love is like 100%. So it depends on two sides. One is love and affection, and the other one is the seeing what degree of suffering. So by seeing page 150 and down, we will be able to see the suffering of the sentient beings intense, in the most intense version. Whereas the most intense version of suffering is that the beings are suffering because of the self-grasping ignorance. Right? And to be very precise, self-grasping ignorance hand in hand with self-centered attitude. That makes the being suffer in the most intense way. If you see this, then your compassion can take the highest form of the sophistication and the intensity. Okay, for that matter, stanza 150 down is to explain to us, Bodhisattva pointed to us as to how the beings are suffering because of, because of not seeing things as like a dream. Okay, when will you see the dream as dream? In the dream or outside the dream? Outside the dream. In the dream, you see the dream as real. Because of that, then in the dream, the ghost comes, you run away, right? And the cheesecake comes, you just chase after it. So all this pull and push, involuntary pull and push, right? Okay, who will see this as an involuntary pull and push? The one in the dream or one who comes out of the dream and looking into the dream? Comes out and look inside. Inside the dream, you will not see as a pull and push. Outside, why should you run away? It's not a dream, it's just a dream, right? You don't run, you don't be afraid. And why should you go after this cheesecake? It's just a dream, it's not really there, you know? So only when you come out, you realize that, oh, the person's suffering terribly, right? Involuntary, unnecessarily going through problems. Okay, then in the dream, then not only that you are pull and push, you are pull and push in a terrible way. For example, we kill each other, right? So what is happening in the world, right? And then the masala attacks, immigration problems, all these problems are there. These are all just within the dream. Within the dream, there are again good bad things that are happening. Right? So all these are nothing, but one thing which is common to all these things is that you are under the sway of the ignorance of the dream. Seeing the dream is real. This is what makes us do involuntary pull and push. Involuntary pull and push is loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is the greatest misery. Misery is samsara. Right? Okay, if you understand in this way, then the compassion that we feel towards sentient beings could be very intense. Okay, I will slowly read this through. And so this is from the point of view, you meditate on compassion towards other sentient beings. On the basis of understanding, have some sense that, okay, actually everything is like a dream. You coming out of the dream, and all other sentient beings, how they're suffering by being in the dream, right? Okay, I'll read this slowly and you try to see if you understand something. Sentient beings resemble dreams. Upon analysis, they are like planted trees. Whether they're released or not from sorrow, ultimately there's no difference. You wake up, there's no difference. With all phenomena empty in that way, what is there to gain? What is there to lose? Who is there to respect? Or who is there to scorn? From where does pleasure or pain arise? What is there to dislike? Or what is there to like? When investigated at the ultimate level, what is craved by which? Upon analysis, what world of living beings exists that will die here? Who will come into existence? Who has existed? Who is a relative or who is a friend? In the dream, you have relatives, you have friends like this. You wake up, they are just like dream. 154. Those of my kind, please understand that everything is like space. Everything is like illusion. Nothing is really there. Just a space, there's nothing really there. Everything. Okay, if you say nothing is there, it means you fall into nihilism, right? Objectively, nothing is there. But those wishing for happiness for self get agitated and excited by seeing things objectively real through causes such as fights and festivities. Right? In the dream, you fight, you celebrate festivities. From the distress, exertion, and disputes, they cut and stab each other, living in great difficulties due to negativities. Despite coming to the favorable births over and over again, so often experiencing manifold pleasures, after death they fall to the unbearable sufferings of the bad rebirth for a very long time. In samsara, cliffs are plenty, and one remains deprived of knowing the reality. Meaning that in this dream, you are deprived of knowing that this dream is actually a dream. Right? In reality, this dream is just a dream. But since samsara and nirvana mutually contradict one another, one unceasingly cycles in samsara. In samsara, nothing compares with the realization of the reality. In actuality, in the dream, what is most precious is to realize that the dream is dream. But this is not happening. It happens very rarely, right? Okay, 158. There, two are incompatible and unbearable, oceans of suffering beyond any end. In samsara, there's little strength. The lifespan is too short. There, as well, with activities for longevity and health, with hunger and exhaustion, with sleep and harms, and likewise with fruitlessly keeping company with childish people. Right? Fruitlessly keeping company with childish people, meaning childish, the people who are so drawn into believing things objectively real, right? You go with them, then it reinforces that this is not a real, this dream is not dream, this is real. Okay, reinforcing the dream to be real. So this is what the childish people do. 160. Life passes quickly and in vain, yet analytical wisdom is so difficult to gain. This wisdom of emptiness is so difficult to gain. Furthermore, where is there in samsara a means to eliminate the habituated distraction towards objective existence? Again, the demon is striving there to bring about a fall to the most awful rebirth. There are so many distorted paths. Okay, this is very important. Say, while in samsara, right, while in the dream, some say, no, this is not a dream, this is real. Right? Some the dream, then say no. So the Singapore is the biggest country in the world. Right? In the dream. All sorts of people, they teach different things. Right? All these wrong paths are being taught in the dream. Okay, so therefore, meeting with somebody who guides us wrongly, misguides us, is innumerable in number. There are too many distorted paths, wrong paths. It is difficult to transcend this doubt whether or not this is a dream. Right? it is difficult to obtain a good rebirth again. Appearance of a Buddha is extremely rare, and the currents of afflictions are difficult to abandon. Allah's suffering will go on unceasingly. If this is a trend, my suffering will never come to an end. They fail to see their own suffering, although they are infested with extreme suffering. Oh dear, this really is a cause to lament for those who are caught in the rapids of suffering. For example, some people often perform ablutions. Ablutions meaning like, say, the washing, the sacred washing. They then jump into the fire again and again. Even though in terrible states of suffering, they assume themselves to be happy. They think that, oh, I'm doing something great, I'm doing something virtuous. Likewise, there are those who frolic about as if there were no old age and death. Within the dream, right? No, you think that there's no old age and death, and just do as though like if you will last for another 1,000 years. First, they will lose their lives, and then fall to unbearable rebirth. Oh, okay, now the last two stanzas are so precious. This is Bodhisattva's, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra's prayer. Oh, when shall I come to bring peace to those tormented by the fires of suffering like these? How to bring peace to them? How to wake up? By helping them to wake up. With the rain of happiness from my collection pouring forth from the clouds of my merit. How? Oh, when shall I respectfully or intensely? Respectfully, this is actually the meaning for the intensity, intensely. When shall I respectfully or intensely accumulate merit? Non-referentially, meaning that by seeing things empty in the empty way. Okay, it's like say morning when we wake up, when we make prostrations. Okay, this illusional Dorji is making illusional offering by prostration to the illusional Buddha, being aware that everything is like illusion. With this, then you accumulate merit. That is known as accumulate merit non-referentially. Whereas we just make prostrations without being aware of emptiness. This is accumulate merit contaminated by self-grasping ignorance. Right? Okay. Oh, when shall I intensely accumulate merit non-referentially and teach emptiness to those who have been ruined by objectification? You're getting it? Okay, this is a prayer said by the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Okay, let's say the last two stanzas together, the 3 times. Okay, wholeheartedly let us make a prayer that may I be able to see emptiness as soon as possible, may I be able to teach this emptiness to my two parents, to all my family members, including children, to all the sentient beings. Let us wholeheartedly say this prayer 3 times. Oh, when shall I come to bring peace to those tormented by the fires of suffering like these, with the rain of happiness from my collection pouring forth from the clouds of my merit? Oh, when shall I respectfully accumulate merit non-referentially and teach emptiness to those who have been ruined by objectification? Oh, when shall I come to bring peace to those tormented by the fires of suffering like these, with the rain of happiness from my collection pouring forth from the clouds of my merit? Oh, when shall I respectfully accumulate merit non-referentially and teach emptiness to those who have been ruined by objectification? Oh, when shall I come to bring peace to those tormented by the fires of suffering like these, with the rain of happiness from my collection pouring forth from the clouds of my merit? Oh, when shall I respectfully accumulate merit non-referentially and teach emptiness to those who have been ruined by objectification? Okay, very quick explanation, not really explanation, very quick points for meditation emptiness. Very quick points. Okay, just we may not sit in the meditation posture, it's fine. Just listen to this. Okay, for the meditation in simple way. More detail if you are interested, more detail. We have already done it in many places. And again, you can send a request to the TBC office, and then office will write to me and I will send it, the recording, right? All these detailed explanation how to meditate. If you have like 40 minutes or if you have 20 minutes, right? How to meditate on emptiness in a detailed form, particularly when you do during the weekends, you have more holiday time and so forth. That would be wonderful. Okay, this you can get the, so in a short, what I'd like to share with you here is for the emptiness meditation, okay, 3 points plus 2 points. Total 5. I'm going to say 3 plus 2. Right? 3 plus 2. Total is 5. Okay, what are the 3 points? First, okay, make it very short. Just, what do you call it? The salient points. Right? Say, 1, the self. Point 1, self. Number 2, the parts. Number 2, the parts. I'm first going to enumerate what these points are. And then I'll explain further. Right? Okay, if you remember these points, it will be very easy for you to meditate emptiness. Okay, what is the first one? Self. What is number 2? Parts. Number 3, 2 questions. Number 3, 2 questions. Right? Number 4, the non-fabricated truth. Non-exaggerated truth. Number 4. Number 5, illusion-like reality. Number 5, illusion-like reality. Okay, let's say illusion-like dependent origination. Let's say illusion-like dependent origination. Number 5, illusion-like dependent. Okay, number 1, self. Number 2, parts. Number 3, 2 questions. Then number 4, non-fabricated truth. Number 5, illusion-like dependent origination. Okay, so this is fine. So number 3, if you have no time, if it's just 1 minute or if you just have a minute, then do this the first 3, and then you go to your job, go to your work, right? To catch your metro, MRT, whatever, right? Okay. If you have little time, if you have 1.5 minutes, then you do all 5, right? The first one, what is the first one? Self. Meaning that, okay, just think of, okay, Dorji, right? Dorji. Or let's say the Venerable Raptanla. So you yourself just mention, okay, what am I, how do I look? Yes, I look so object real. Okay. Number 2, what is number 2? Pause. Go to 6 elements. Go to 6 elements, right? Go to 6 elements. Okay, I'm just nothing. Just the 6 elements. What is number 3? 2 questions. Okay, 2 questions. First one, what am I seeing? First question, what am I seeing? I'm seeing 6 elements. Second question, where is this Dorji? Where is this Dorji? He's empty, he's not there. Stay there. He's empty, he's not there. Stay there. Oh, this is number 3. Number 3, the second question, answer to the second question is the actual emptiness experience. Right? Okay. What is number 4? Non-fabricated. Okay, then this Dorji is empty there. Actually, it's what? From the object side, Dorji is empty. This is non-fabricated truth, non-exaggerated. I'm not exaggerating. It's reality, right? It's not just like I'm imagining. It's reality that I'm discovering. It's a reality. It's not exaggerated. It's a reality, non-exaggerated reality, right? So with this, your mind will, very quickly go into ultimate reality. We will quickly go into the experience emptiness in the later on, the later times. What's next? Illusion-like dependent origination, meaning, okay, now it's not exaggerated. I'm not really there. Okay, but now again I come back. I have to go to work. I come back. There's nothing from the object. Nothing's really there. It's just appearance coming. This appearance is like illusion. Yet, in this illusion, dependent origination operates. Illusion-like dependent origination, right? So with this awareness, then you stand up, go to your work, right? It will not take you more than 1.5 minutes. But don't tell anyone. Keep it confidential, right? Okay, we'll stop here. We'll stop here. There are many questions. They say sent to me. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, we will do the end direction prayer. Okay. Okay, now because that this is the closing dedication prayer, let us pray. Let us wholeheartedly pray. They reinforce the visualization Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, particularly Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra in front of us. and visualize your true parents, all the family members, including children, and everyone, particularly the difficult people, the animals, the human beings, the insects, the local spirits, the hungry ghost beings, hell beings, the celestial beings from Singapore, from the world, from the entire universe around you. Okay, so let us pray that the merit that we have accumulated, the light of the wisdom that we have generated over the last 9 days, and the light of bodhicitta that we have generated in the last 9 days. Let us pray that these two lights proliferate infinite number of times and be shared with your true parents and all your dear sentient beings, so that the darkness of the self-grasping ignorance and the darkness of self-centered attitude are eradicated fully from their minds, and they experience the bounties of happiness eternally. Let us also dedicate the merits thus gathered, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And may I personally dedicate the merits thus gathered, that each one of you, through your concerted effort, be able to soon see the dawn of the wisdom of emptiness and the beautiful mind of bodhicitta within you, so that each one of you, become such a reliable guide to lead all the other sentient beings towards enlightenment as soon as possible. May all the incredibly great learning centers such as Ganden, Sera, Tepung, and all the learning centers of the Sakya, Kaiku, Nyingma, Gelug, from the Chinese tradition, from the Theravada tradition, all these genuine learning centers, may they thrive in the activities of proliferating the true message of compassion, the true message of bodhicitta, the true message of the wisdom and emptiness of the Buddha in the minds of all dear sentient beings, in all 10 directions, at all times. May all the centers to benefit the beings, such as the Tibetan Buddhist Center and ABC, and all the centers wherever in the world who are benefiting the people, to direct them towards the true path, genuine path of the Buddha. May all the centers, the people, the volunteers, the staff, in the centers, may they have long life, healthy life, and that they are harmonious amongst each others, and that they really be able to render a genuine, very compassionate service to all the people who come in contact with these centers. May they proliferate in every respect, the facilities, and so forth, and the dissemination of the Dharma and so forth. And may the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness, the teaching on bodhicitta, unconditional bodhicitta, thrive in all 10 directions in the minds of dear sentient beings, present and future. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 22 of the prayer. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, for all those whose minds' wisdom is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach the state, may I be held in loving kindness for all lives. Manjushri, may I find the best of the complete created parts of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I've discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not spread, or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness in aid. May the mind of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be acknowledged for a long time.
by even this greatest power to enlightenment completely due to the wondrous virtues granted to the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be separated in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold minor virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may ocean's prosperity spread everywhere. The path of union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of the Dharma and the beings in the snowland. You are the Lord of souls, the Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who help our merits through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by our Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life.